Well, well, well. Just when people think it's over for the Cowboys get a present from the Chargers. The Cowboys are still in it. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Yep. I told y'all today, the road for the Cowboys is winning the division. The Cowboys got to take care of business. It ain't over yet. The Cowboys have to take care of business. The ball now is in the Cowboys' court. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy hitters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And as you come into this live stream, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live, and we are live. And if you haven't become a channel member subscriber yet, what are you waiting on? We have a lot more great things coming up this season. Now let's talk facts. I'm telling y'all, man. I said it. The best scenario for the Cowboys has always been winning the division. There is actually no hope for the Cowboys in the wild card situation. If the Cowboys try to get in with just the 10 wins, they're not going to be able to make it because there will be multiple teams with 4 wins that won't be division winners. But as it applies to winning the division, I said it today and we're going to continue this conversation. It is a whole lot more likely that we are watching the collapse of the Philadelphia Eagles. Just like the Kansas City Chiefs have imploded this year, the Eagles are imploding this year. Jalen Hurts is not the same without all that talent. And he still got a lot of that talent. But that offensive line, he ain't the same. And we saw a glimpse, not the return of, but a glimpse of Saquon Barkley, of what he used to be. We didn't see what he was last year. We didn't see it all the way back. It was a glimpse. Chargers played some pretty good defense. Eagles defense, they did their job. The Eagles defense did their job. What failed them? We're going to look at it tonight. We're going to check out the box score. We'll talk some about this Philadelphia game, and then we're going to get into the ramifications of this for the Dallas Cowboys. But again, I'm telling y'all, they're not done yet. That Eagles offense we saw tonight, it can't beat the Buffalo Bills. Not in Buffalo. Not in the cold. That offense right there can't beat Buffalo. It can't. Now that defense will keep them in the game. But that offense, nah. That offense. And so what this season is going to come down to, Cowboys got to take care of business. But what this will come down to as far as the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, will the Philadelphia Eagles be able to beat the Washington Commanders twice? Because that's what this is coming down to. They're going to beat the Raiders. The Eagles will bounce back against the Raiders. The story of the season is going to, all of this is going to hinge on, can they beat the Commanders at least once in 3 weeks? No, twice. I'm sorry. Can they beat them twice in 3 weeks? I got a strange feeling the Commanders at home against Philly is going to be tough. Boy, it's going to be a tough out. Oh, I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. This is what the conversation is going to be tonight. So we're going to look at this Philadelphia Eagles thing, man. We're going to get this thing going. All right. It's 264 of y'all in here tonight. It's Cowboys After Dark. I'm just going to go about 1 minute into the greetings, and then I want to get right into this show. Let's keep that energy going with that Cowboys theme music. My sister, the Queen, tight game, but interesting. Shotty should have watched the game plan for the Chargers. I said it today, Queen. I said it today. And I'm sure Shotty watched this game, but I don't see anything wrong with telling people that you were going to watch the game. I'd have had a watch party tonight. I'm sorry, I would have. I'd have had a watch party. Marquietos, what's going on? David DeWinans, what's going on? Richard Owens, what's going on? Bass, what up with you? Tony Nichols, let's go. Doomsday. The Eagles have real problems. They do. They are not the same as last year. We have to take care of business these next 4 games, DC4L. Doomsday. If we win out, I believe the Eagles are going to give it to us. They are struggling. They struggling. Dolores Ennis, what up? John Jones said, all I can say is, wow, G, what up? Hey, it's a new Jack City up in this thing, John Jones. It's a new Jack City, bro. I'm telling you. Dominique Pittman, what's going on? He said it's a doggone shame what they did to that bird. Let's go. Maureen Baldwin. Oh, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. Cowboys hater. It was a struggle. I'm telling you. Cowboys hater. I think they're going to, they might have a problem with the Raiders. Their defense is bar none. Their offense, they're not beating anybody with that offense hardly. The only hope they have against the Raiders is keeping it low scoring, which they will do. They'll keep it low scoring. What's going on, Hoodie Kush? BJT003. What up? Richard Villegas. What's going on? Yeah, we in this thing, man. We in this thing. S-Man Anderson, what's going on? Bobby, what's up with you? Mizzle, Moonglade, what up? It's the real estate vet in the house. What's going on? Rose, we in this thing, man. Chris Dunaway, Horse Fisher, what's going on? All right, let's get this thing going, man. Appreciate y'all rocking with me tonight. Cowboys After Dark. Let's talk for a couple of hours about the ramifications of this game tonight. Jakira, let me tell you something. These doggone Eagles are struggling. Jakira said, your laughing sound effect when you get to my comment. What's up, G? Yeah. What up, Jakira? She said, play that laughing sound effect when I get to her comment. Let's eat. Let's go. Yeah. Goody Kush in the building. What's going on? Rodney Evans, everybody up in here. Yeah, the Cowboys are getting some great breaks this year because of some things that they're doing and some things that other teams are doing. The Cowboys won 3 in a row, lost to Detroit. Now the Cowboys come back, needed a loss by the Eagles tonight. And man, let me tell you something. It was looking pretty crazy. It was looking pretty dire there for a moment. Eagles got a little bit momentum going, and I said, uh-oh. But right before the turnover, I posted on X. I said, I got a feeling that the Eagles are about to either score a touchdown or they are about to commit a turnover. It was the play right before the turnover. My son walked in, he says, it's going to be a tie. I said, it's not going to be a tie. I said, they're either going to turn the ball over or it's going to be a touchdown. He walks out of the room. And then I start screaming and clapping. He comes back in. And exactly what I said. It was a turnover. You could tell the way the game was going. It was going to either be a touchdown or a turnover. And it turned out to be a turnover. And so the Cowboys are in it. Cowboys are in it, gang. All they have to do is take care of business. Cowboys win. They're going to be 7-6-1. The Cowboys are going to be 1 game behind the Eagles. 1 game. All the Cowboys have to do is take care of business. And that Chargers team I saw tonight, it looked pretty good. It seems like their biggest weapon is basically Justin Herbert. I didn't see anything that the Cowboys can't handle. The Eagles were in their backfield all night. The Eagles were in their backfield all night. They're not a juggernaut offensively. I mean, they got some things you have to watch. You have to watch Hampton, their other running back. But their second leading rusher is Herbert. So he's the one that you truly have to watch. Cowboys got to take care of business against the Vikings first. We won't talk about the Chargers until another week from now. But the Cowboys with the Vikings. Vikings had a pretty good showing this past week against the Washington Commanders. But they're coming into Dallas, and we'll see what happens. But I think the Cowboys are going to take care of business on them boys. The big thing with the Cowboys will be the Chargers. Can they beat the Chargers? But again, got to take care of business on the Philadelphia Eagles, because I'm telling you, the Chargers really gifted us a win against this team. Let's check out something real quick. Let's check out this box score. This thing was atrocious. This was atrocious tonight. How do you have this many turnovers and the score is only 19-22? What? Man, this was atrocious. All right, let's check this out. I just don't get how do you have so few points? I mean, some of it was the defense, and some of it was just bad throws by Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts threw some bad throws. Jalen Hurts threw some good throws, too. And I thought there was one or two that A.J. Brown tipped one of the interceptions right into the opponent's hands. All right, let's look at the stats on this thing from tonight. This was an absolute crazy game. And the stat that stands out more than anything, this is banana bonkers. I'm telling you now, if Jalen Hurts was on another team, he would probably be benched right now. 4 interceptions. Wow. 4 interceptions. Jalen Hurts doesn't do well on tight window throws. He just doesn't do well on tight window throws. He doesn't do well on throws to where those layered throws to where you may have to throw over someone. Doesn't make the great timing throws. And when you take Jalen Hurts' running ability away from him, he's not even average. I mean, really, he's not even average without his legs. And so the Chargers did a great job, I believe, of containing him. I mean, this was crazy in the grand scheme of things. Another stat that stands out to me, 134 yards by the Eagles. Wow. And don't forget, Saquon had a big run. So you take away that, it's just like how good did they run the ball? Again, flashes of Saquon Barkley from last year, but wasn't Saquon Barkley totally. They're just not the same team. They're not the same team. Again, I never thought Kellen Moore would have meant that much to him. They're not the same team. 231 passing yards, 134 rushing yards. I mean, but the tale of the night, 4 interceptions by Jalen Hurts. It did them in. It just absolutely did them in. Looking at some of the individual stats real quick. Let me tell you the recipe for disaster with Jalen Hurts. This is a bona fide recipe for disaster. If you're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, you absolutely want to see this stat line. Jalen Hurts threw the ball 40 times. Yeah, you want that if you're playing the Eagles. If Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball 40 times, that means something is wrong. They can't run the ball. Now, I want you to look at Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was 20 for 122. This looked like actually old Saquon Barkley. So of the 122 yards, 52 came on 1 big run. 52 came on one big run. The rest of those, what is that, 70 yards? The rest of those 70 yards, the Chargers made him work for it. They made him work for it. And it seemed like in the second half, I mean, he basically disappeared. I mean, it's like he was pretty much gone. Fourth quarter and beyond, especially, he was gone. Jalen Hurts. This is how you beat Jalen Hurts. So you're telling me that Jalen Hurts threw the ball 40 times, 240 yards, and then when you go to the rushing category, he had 4 carries for 8 yards? You beat him every single time like this. You're probably going to beat Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts every single time like this because he is typically a huge part of the running game. If Barkley has 122, typically Jalen Hurts will add in about another 30 to 50 to 60 yards, running for first downs, but the Chargers were not having it. The Chargers contained him. The Chargers were not having it. This dude threw the ball 40 times. Wow. 40 times? Jalen Hurts, I've told y'all this before. I told you in the past. Jalen Hurts isn't built to throw the ball 40 times. That's not his game. Jalen Hurts, you actually want Jalen Hurts around 20? Not even 25, 20. You don't want him having 200 plus yards because he seems to win a lot of games when he's below 200 yards. You don't want him having where he throws a lot of yards in the passing game because you're probably losing. Yeah. Jalen Hurts threw the game away. And don't get me wrong, A.J. Brown helped him. A.J. Brown was 6'4", 100. His longest was 26. But A.J. Brown had a couple of questionable, tipped one ball, had a drop, I think, on another one. And I still say, I don't know what's going on with this league in pass interference, but I do think that A.J. Brown should have sold that last pass where he went deep. He should have sold that better. He didn't fight hard enough for that pass. Because I think it was pass interference. They were hand fighting, but he should have fought harder to get to the ball. But instead, he tried to one-hand it, and it was over. One-handed, and it was over. Bad. And so, man, I'm telling you, the Eagles are in for some kind of shakeup. I can't see them running this team back. They are imploding right before our eyes. This team is imploding. Let me read some super chats and read some comments. I appreciate y'all rocking with me this tonight, Cowboys After Dark. Tristan York, what up? Good to see you tonight. He said, good evening, G and Cowboys Nation. He said, love seeing the Philadelphia Pigeons. Tristan York said the Philadelphia Pigeons. He said, lose their third straight, going to sleep well tonight. We them boys. Yes, sir. I love it. I love it, Tristan York. Appreciate that. Superman, appreciate that super chat. He said, gee, I think the Eagles are cooked. Yeah, I do too, Superman. I think we're going to watch. I think they'll have a bounce back game against the Raiders because the Raiders, man, it's hard for them to beat anybody. I think they'll bounce back against the Raiders. I think they'll beat the Raiders, but they're going to come up against the Commanders team that's probably going to still be playing. They lose that Commanders game, it's going to be a problem. And I think they're going to lose one of the two. I don't think they beat the Commanders both times. They're playing them 2 times in 3 weeks. I think the Commanders will manage to beat them one of those times. And it might be the one they play. I think it'll be the one they play the Commanders at home. I think it's the one they're going to play at home. I think that's the one they're going to win. Sub-Zero, Cowboys' chances looking pretty good. Yeah, they went up exponentially. Man. This Eagles team is imploding. It imploded after the first Super Bowl that they didn't win. They imploded the following season. They're imploding. We're going to see if it holds true. No NFC team has repeated as NFC champs, if I'm not mistaken, since 2024. I mean, since 2004. 2004. The last team to do it was the Eagles. They got a chance to do it, but boy, they are struggling something ferocious. They are struggling something ferocious. Tyrone Church, yes, sir, let's go. Yeah. I'm telling us, man, this game tonight, it showed us everything that is wrong with the Eagles. The Eagles' defense is good. Their defense is good. They were missing Jalen Carter tonight. Their defense, it's good. It's great. I mean, their defense is great. It's a great defense. They're vulnerable at times, but they have a great defense. They put a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert tonight. But, man, Justin Herbert, boy, he was running his butt off with that one arm. Let's look at the damage. Justin Herbert is another big story for this game. Justin Herbert murked the Eagles tonight. He murked these boys. Justin Herbert. This actually looks like a Jalen Hurts stat line, doesn't it? This is what you want Jalen Hurts to do. Because Jalen Hurts beat so many teams with this stat line in particular. You would have think that Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts switched bodies or something. Justin Herbert tonight, 12 for 26. That's what you want Jalen Hurts to do. You're telling me Justin Herbert beat the Eagles throwing only 139 yards? 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Sacked 7 times. Sacked 7 times. Wait a minute, is that right? I think that is right. The Eagles amassed 7 sacks, if I'm not mistaken. 7 sacks tonight. They amassed 7 sacks. How do you lose a game? How do you lose a game sacking the opposing quarterback 7 times? Right over here. 7 times. Their defense is good. Good to great. And I shouldn't say good. It's great. How do the Chargers beat you, Philly? They fumbled the ball, lost that twice, got sacked 7 times, threw 1 interception. How do you have 3 turnovers, 7 sacks, and when we look at the quarterback stat line looks like Jalen Hurts' stat line. 12 for 26, 139, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 7 sacks, 59.6% quarterback rating. And then you tell me, and that's the quarterback that won? Banana bonkers. But let me give you the stat that is the telling part of this game. The telling stat of this game is Justin Herbert. 10 carries, 66 yards, 6.6 yards per carry. That man balled out on Philly with his legs. It's like him and Jalen Hurts traded bodies. The tell of the tape was Justin Herbert. Extending drives, getting first downs. I mean, he couldn't do it with his arm. So he did it with his legs. Wow. Gave Philly a taste of their own medicine. Gave them a taste of their own medicine. What's up, Ducendo? Ducendo said Hurts had the only interception and fumble. Insane. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. This game is crazy to me. If you look at the stat line, you're thinking, oh, this is all the Eagles won. Eagles made some vital mistakes. Yay more. It wouldn't surprise me. They're imploding. Yay more said the Eagles losing to the Raiders. Man, I'm telling you. Extreme said there was there was a whole lot of flopping to draw flags, happy refs. They threw some flags. They threw some good ones though. Yeah, they threw some. Hey, you know what's crazy? They threw a flag on the Philadelphia Eagles. This is exactly what Tony Dungy was talking about. They threw a flag on the Philadelphia Eagles for the exact play that they called a play that they called pass interference on Ferguson. The wide receiver dipped inside. He kind of did a cut or something inside of the defender, and he pushes the defender as he's making that cut. He kind of swiped him out of the way, but the defender grabbed his jersey so that he wouldn't go all the way down. They called that pass interference on the defense. But the ref against the Cowboys called that pass interference on the offense. And this is what Tony Dungy was saying, that the majority of refs in this league would call that defensive pass interference, like they did tonight. Well, Ferg got called for offensive pass interference for doing the same thing. Same thing. Crazy. JTX, boy, Jay, your stuff will be in the mail this week. Jay, if the Raiders beat the Eagles, I'm going to lose my mind. Boy, I'm going to lose my mind if they lose to the Raiders, man. Boy, they lose to the Raiders? Shoo. Woo! East Coast Cowboy, he said, yeah, they're splitting with Washington, and they're not good enough to beat the Bills. No. Yeah, they're not good enough to beat the Bills in Buffalo. And I think their defense can keep them in it for a while, but they're not good enough. Because I'm telling you this, if Justin Herbert did this to them on the ground, boy, imagine Josh Allen. Jay Henlon, he said the way the pitchers are playing, the Raiders will win, I guarantee it. Boy, the Eagles are in a bad shape right now, boy. The Eagles are in a bad way right now, man. They're in a bad way, bro. Kerry Hampton said the Eagles have lost to the Giants and the Cowboys already, and the Cowboys only lost to the Eagles once in our division so far. Kerry, I don't think they're beating the Commanders twice. I don't. Pure Game and Scopes, he said if the Raiders beat the Eagles, we have to win the division. Boy, let me tell you something. Cowboys got they got a present. Cowboys got a present handed to them tonight. They really did. Let's pull this up real quick. Let's look at the road to the playoffs just for a second. We'll look at it even more tonight. Let's check it out, make a couple of issues here. It is insane to me, bro. The Eagles are 8-5. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. The Eagles are 8-5. I'm telling us, man, the Cowboys got a great chance at winning this division. I just think the Eagles are going to implode. They've been headed on that trajectory all season long. Let me pull up. I want to make sure I make the adjustments over here real quick. The Eagles got beat by the Chargers, man. Wow. All right, let's get this updated real quick so we can look at this graph I've made. And I'm telling you, they better not go in here sleeping on the Raiders, even though I think you could sleep on the Raiders and still beat them. The Raiders are pretty bad. I think the Raiders may be in draft mode. But when you look over here at this remaining Eagles schedule, so the Eagles now have 4 games remaining. Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Commanders. The games that I have in white are the games that I think they win. The games I have in yellow and red, red means it's a good chance they're going to lose. Yellow means it could go either way. They better not sleep on the Raiders looking forward to the Eagles. Looking forward to the Commanders. They'll be back at home against the Raiders. I do think they pulled that game off. But, boy, I'm telling you, if they lose to the Raiders, the Cowboys got the division. Because if you lose to the Raiders, you're still going to lose to the Bills. I believe you still lose to the Bills, and there's still a chance you get beat by the Raiders and the Commanders. But if they get beat by the Raiders, I give them 9 wins if they get beat by the Raiders. I don't think they'll win but one more game if they get beat by the Raiders. Total implosion. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they're beating the Raiders. But this Commanders game, it's going to be tough. That Bills game, I don't even think it's going to be tough. I just think the Bills are going to beat them. Now, who knows? They could rise to the occasion any given Sunday. But I just think the Bills are too tough. The Bills are too tough. We just saw what they did to the Cincinnati Bengals, as I call them. We saw what they did to the Bengals. And the Eagles don't have the kind of offense it takes to beat a team like the Bills on the road. They just don't have the kind of offense it takes. BK Cowboy fan, what's going on? BK Cowboys fan. He says Cowboys have to move on from the Lions loss, but playoffs is a daunting task. Raiders, Commanders next 2 games, and then he says still have to see it to believe it, Mr. G. You know, BK Cowboy, I think the Cowboys have moved on past the Lions game. I think they moved on from this thing the moment it was over. I'm going to say, and I said this the other day, I don't think the Cowboys will ever admit it. I really think the Cowboys were tired. I'm not giving them an excuse for losing because I still say you got to push through it. But they had so many games in a 4-week span. I just think it was too much for them. They won the original gauntlet. The Lions was not a part of the original gauntlet. The gauntlet was supposed to be the Raiders, the Eagles, and then the quick turnaround game to the Chiefs. Those were the 3 games that people were saying the Cowboys won't come out of that. You know, they'll come out of that and they might win 1. Well, they won all 3. And so when you look at the adrenaline, I think some of it they were riding adrenaline. Marshawn Nealon, they were riding adrenaline. Got 2 brand new players, Logan Wilson and Quentin Williams. They were riding on such a high. They rolled up, beat the Raiders, beat the Eagles, beat the Chiefs, got to the Detroit Lions, riding on, and I don't think they were necessarily riding on fumes, but I think they were tired, looked extremely sloppy, and the Lions were hungry. The Lions were hungry. They had more rest than the Cowboys. They were hungry, had a game plan, had a great game plan for the Cowboys, and they were too physical for a Dallas Cowboys team that had come off of that type of run. They were too physical for the Cowboys. And so, BK Cowboy, I think the Cowboys already moved on. What did I tell y'all that night when we did the live stream? Cowboys, to me, didn't look disappointed. They didn't look disappointed. They looked relieved. I didn't see disappointment on their face. I saw relief. That's what I saw. They were relieved to get out of that 4-game stretch at 3-4. I guarantee you, Cowboys already forgot about that game. They're ready for the Vikings. They're ready for the Vikings. Because guess what? The Philadelphia Eagles gave them a present. Basically, the Philadelphia Eagles are saying, the Philadelphia Eagles gave them a present. So now the Cowboys just, hey, you went out, you probably win this division. You can't afford a loss. You win out, you win this division. You once again control your own destiny. Man, you don't get this opportunity a lot. They get to control their own destiny. The Eagles are on the boy, them birds. The birds got them wings clipped. T. Kubler. So you said Kenny Pickett revenge game. So I know Kenny Pickett plays for the Raiders. So what happened? Geno got benched or something? Because I hadn't heard any talk about Kenny Pickett. Yeah, Sean the Heart. Sean the Barber, he said DC4L Pigeons do it like no other. Boy, they are imploding, man. They are imploding at just a quick turn, man. Classic Man Sigma, I agree. Man, I'm telling you, I will not be surprised if but the only reason I don't think they'll hang 50 on them is Philly's defense is pretty good, man. It's better than pretty good. It's a great defense. That defense is playing good enough for the Eagles to be winning. But the problem is a lot of teams have the number of Jalen Hurts. You stop him from running, throw a zone defense on him, you got him. Got him. There's not a lot he can do. Got him. I've always said this about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts will make 5 or 6 throws a game sometimes. I mean, he can make 5 or 6 throws that'll just make you go, wow, Jalen Hurts threw that? He's not going to do that every single game. That's the problem. He's just not going to do that every single game. That defense is good enough. It's better than good enough. It's the only thing that kept them in the game. It kept them in the game. I mean, do y'all not wish that we could do this as the Cowboys? I want you to think about what the Philadelphia Eagle defense did to the Los Angeles Chargers. Guys, I ain't taking nothing away from that Philly defense. Tell me we don't wish the Cowboys could do this. So you're telling me Philly got 7 sacks. They held the Los Angeles Chargers off of multiple turnovers. You're telling me they held the Chargers to 3 in the second quarter, 3 in the third quarter, and you hold them to 6 in the fourth quarter? They literally held the Los Angeles Chargers to nothing but field goals after the first quarter. They relegated them to nothing but field goals. Tell me we don't wish our defense could do this. Philly defense ain't nowhere near the problem. If the Eagles could have scored some points, they scored 3 in the first, second, and the third quarter. Kept the drives just stalling, bad throws, turnovers, you name it. They scored 10 in the fourth quarter to bring the game to 19-19. Tell me you don't wish our defense could do this. If our defense could consistently hold every team like the Eagles did tonight, we would run off on every team because our offense is 10 times better. The Philadelphia Eagles had some great opportunities in this game. Some great opportunities. The defense is it is more than good enough to beat a lot of teams. Now, they struggle a little bit, I think, with some of the high-powered offenses like the Cowboys. I think they'll struggle definitely with the Buffalo Bills. But I still don't think the Buffalo Bills, and if the Buffalo Bills do put up 50 on them, a part of that will be because the Eagles' offense is probably going to turn it over to them, and they're not going to be able to produce. And so they'll be giving the ball to the Buffalo Bills so much that the Buffalo Bills may be able to score points because eventually, man, you just can't keep holding somebody. But at the end of the day, Philly's defense is more than good enough. Their offense is imploding, though. Their offense is imploding. And, man, let me tell you, if Jalen Carter decides to sit out this next week, they need Jalen Carter if they have any chance at trying to continue to hold the Dallas Cowboys off. But even with Jalen Carter, man, I don't know if they can hold the Cowboys off. They're just imploding on offense, and it's just no other way to explain it. East Coast Cowboy. He said they only have to drop one more game and we win out. We get the East, but I see them losing 2 more games. Yeah, they're going to lose. I do believe they lose to the Bills. Now, the Bills would put them at losing to the Bills because the issue is, we need them to lose 2 more games so that we can tie with the amount of wins. So we need them to lose 2 more games. We need them to lose to the Bills, and then we need to lose one of those games to the Commanders, and then we win this thing. But the Cowboys, they got a great opportunity. It's right there. Jay takes A. Jay. They got to beat the Vikings. They have to beat the Vikings. They have to beat the Chargers. They got to take care of business. Kareem said, I'd rather not make it to the playoffs this year and then make it and get embarrassed. Oh, no. If they get in, I think the Cowboys, they'll do some damage. If the Cowboys get in, Kareem, they'll do some damage. I'm not telling you they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not telling you they're not going to the Super Bowl. But if the Cowboys get in the playoffs, no, they're going to do damage. They will do damage in the playoffs. You watch what I tell you. If they get in, they'll do damage. East Coast, I don't know. Hey, we talked a little bit about this today. It's not just Matt. I got a question about even Brian Schottenheimer's approval of Murray being out there on that field. Man, Murray don't need to be out on no football field. Murray don't need to be out on no football field for the Cowboys no more. Nah, he need to let that dude sit down somewhere. Kelvin Seltzer, hey, Kelvin, if you an Eagles fan, I'm telling you now, Kelvin, y'all lose one more time, shoot. Boy, y'all lose one more time, it's over, bro. And y'all bet not lose before y'all see the Bills. Because I'm telling you now, y'all going to fold like a tent, bro. Brandon said, however, this is what happens when your defense is so good to bail you out or almost bail you out. Brandy, their defense is great. Their defense is not the reason why they lost this thing. But I love it. I love it, and the Cowboys got a great chance. Jesus, he says, gee, I don't think we can win with Shotty's play calling, and we cannot clean up garbage players like Ferguson. We have not protected Dak all season. Shotty is full of it. Jesus, but you know what's going to win for the Cowboys? Dak Prescott. Shotty is benefiting from Dak Prescott, and that's okay. Shotty is benefiting from the play of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, I was talking to my sons tonight. We were going back and forth about this because they don't believe that Dak Prescott can win the MVP. But I think Dak is going to win the MVP. I think he's going to win the MVP. Because when you look at Dak Prescott's stats, Dak Prescott is like top. He's the top in like 4 of the categories. Dak Prescott is absolutely balling out of his mind. And the thing where Jalen Hurts is excelling is in the touchdown range. Oh man, boy, let me tell you something. I'm rolling, boy. They got me rolling over here on X. Look at Gilly the Kid over here. You know Gilly the Kid is a huge Eagles fan and a Cowboys hater. Look at him over here. Cry, Eagles, cry. Cry, Eagles, cry. We not feeling sorry for y'all, Gilly. We are not feeling sorry. You talk too bad about the Cowboys. We are not feeling sorry for you. Not doing it. They are tearing Jalen Hurts apart. Jalen Hurts tonight, 0 touchdowns, 5 turnovers, 31.2 passer rating. And they were still in it at the end of the game to win. Just tells you how good their defense is. It really does. It just tells you how good their defense is. Let's check out this. Let me make sure I've been saying this right because I watched the game tonight, but this is just a crazy stat. I want to make sure because the Eagles tonight were able to get, let me see. I just don't see how you don't beat the Chargers with 7 sacks. That is crazy to me. How do you not beat the Chargers? You get 4 interceptions. The Chargers got 4 interceptions. So the Eagles had 4 interceptions. They lost one fumble. So there it is. They lost one fumble and 4 interceptions. That's the Eagles. But the Chargers lost 2 fumbles and had 1 interception. And you had 7 sacks. I just don't see how you don't beat them. Because they were in it. They had a chance to win it even at the end. But again, Hurts sold them. I think I say Hurts and A.J. Brown sold them. Because I think A.J. Brown had some issues where, especially that tip ball, one of my sons was saying it was a duck. I don't care what it was. That ball hit him in both his hands, and it went right out of his hands. Devontae said on Saquon's big run, Eagles offensive lineman was holding. Classic Man Sigma, he said, ref sponsored by Prize Picks. Man, the refs they've been tripping, man. They've been tripping up in here. James Morris, what's going on? He said, and where is the 2 going to come from? The only loss left is the Bills. The Raiders and the Commanders 2 times probably without JD will not beat the Eagles unless Vegas has something up its sleeve. James Morris, I believe they lose one of the Commanders games. I believe they lose one of the Commanders game. If the Washington Commanders played them the way they played the Denver Broncos week before last, they're beating the Eagles too. Yeah, I think they're going to get that. I think they're going to get that 3rd loss. I think they're going to drop 3 of the last 5. They've already done 1. They dropped the Chargers. I think they'll drop the Bills. I don't think they beat the Raiders. I think they'll beat the Raiders. I just don't think they beat the Commanders twice. Yeah, I don't think they beat the Commanders twice. I think that's going to be the sticking point. It is hard. It's not hard to beat a team twice in a season, but it is hard to beat a team twice in 3 weeks. That's a tall task. It's tough to beat a team 2 times in 3 weeks. Why not Tony? He said Hurts is a running back who can throw 4. Hurts is a quarterback who can throw 4 picks. He said, I let Saquon play quarterback. He might throw 3. Yeah. But I'll tell you this, why not, Tony? Hurts hasn't been running that good. I mean, not Hurts. Saquon Barkley hasn't been running that good. Sub-Zero Prime, he said, I think that after losing to the kids, the Cowboys are going to be super focused on winning 1 game at a time. They will. That's why I say they got to take care of the Vikings. They have to take care of the Vikings and just let everything develop week by week. Let us take care of all the getting excited about, what's going to happen in the future. But the Cowboys have got to handle up 1 game at a time. I can already tell you when they interview Brian Schottenheimer tomorrow, they'll probably interview Brian Schottenheimer tomorrow, and they'll be like, hey, Schotty, the Philadelphia Eagles gave you a gift. They lost to the Chargers. And Brian Schottenheimer kind of be like, yeah, we still have to take care of business and, 1 game at a time. We're not looking at that far down the road. We're focused on the Vikings. But I can tell you this, Dak Prescott in his last press conference, did y'all notice something about Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott is keeping track. He is keeping track of. He is absolutely keeping track of what's going on in the NFC. Dak Prescott is keeping track of it. Because after that loss, Dak Prescott clearly said, we controlled our own destiny, and now we're going to need a bunch of help. He knew what team, he knew the schedule they had and all of these different things. Man, these players, they're keeping up too. They may not be openly saying it in the press, but they're keeping up too. And I guarantee you these players tonight are excited after this Philadelphia Eagles loss because they know if we just win out, if we just take care of business, anything can happen. So the Cowboys are going to have to, we got another week to see if the Eagles will get some rest. Let me tell y'all something, man. I follow this Eagles press sometimes after some of these losses. Boy, y'all think Cowboys media is bad towards the Cowboys sometimes. Whoa. Man, you want to talk about a media that goes nuts after a loss? The Eagles media is nuts, bro. So I can tell you now, they're going to be in turmoil over there, man. They are going to be in turmoil over there as it applies to the Eagles. I'm just telling you, they're going to be in trouble. The radio guys are going to be going crazy on them tomorrow. Let me see. I was trying to see if I could find some Eagle stuff tonight. Because I'm telling you, man, I'll find some stuff later on tonight, and I'll have it up to. I think we might look at some of it tomorrow just to laugh. But boy, I'll tell you, the Philadelphia Eagles media is crazy. I heard this week some of the fans were throwing eggs at the defensive coordinator. I think it was the offensive coordinator. They are crazy after these losses, man. So the Eagles will continue to hear it from their fan base. They're going to continue to hear it from their media. And again, I do think the Raiders game will be a bounce back game for them. Boy, but if they lose to the Raiders, oh man, they might not even they might not even want to go home that night. If they were to lose to the Raiders at home, oh man, they wouldn't be able to go home. I'm just telling you, they wouldn't be able to go home. Yeah, let me see here. I'm going to see tomorrow. Maybe 105.3 The Fan will put up some stuff tomorrow about this Eagles fan base. But they go crazy. They go crazy at losses. They really do. So this thing with the Cowboys, it's going to be tough. I mean, yeah, this thing, because they're gonna be feeling the heat too. Sub-Zero said if the Cowboys get into the playoff, Dak wins MVP. Yeah, me and my sons were arguing that tonight. Yeah, I agree. I think if they get to the playoffs, he definitely wins the MVP, hands down. Bruce, not Wayne, what's going on? He said, Shannon Sharp said he now understands. Cry, Eagles, cry. Oh, man. Because I'm telling you, man, they are really putting themselves behind the 8 ball. They are really putting themselves behind the 8 ball. And so I'm pretty sure Shannon Sharp, I'm gonna find a couple things tomorrow talk about from over there. I'm pretty sure they go drop a couple of clips about what they're talking about tonight. But boy, it's a great night for the Cowboys fans, man. Rodney Evans said Eagles D sold out tonight. They were trying to make up for that beard games. Man, they did a great job. Yeah. Why not? Why not? Tony said Hurts is a running back. Wait, let me go up some more. I'm sorry. Yeah, JCT Slice. I can't see the comment. You might have to repost it. Yay, more. Yeah, we're going to beat the Vikings. But hey, man, the Vikings, I don't know what happened against the Washington Commanders, but they opened up a can on the Washington Commanders. They really did. James said, right, he said, BK, right, we are, but the Eagles probably only going to lose one more if you want to be honest. Oh, no, I think they're going to lose 2. I think they're going to get beat by the Commanders one of those games. I think they lose one of those games for sure. I'm telling you, man, it's tough to beat a team twice in 3 weeks. I remember one year the Cowboys had to do that to the Philadelphia Eagles, man. And boy, that's a tough out. And I think we lost. We played them twice in 3 weeks, and I think we wound up losing. Okay, so as Tekka said, the Raiders will start Kenny Pickett against the Eagles. Really? Haven't heard this. Let me see if there's any talk about this on the wire. Let's see. Because you know Pete Carroll love him some Geno Smith. I tell you what, I bet if they started him, I bet you he would ball out, bro. Let me see. Okay, all right, I see here. All right, let's check this article out. Breaking news by Azteca. Some of y'all might already knew this. Breaking news. Eagles could see a familiar face in Week 15 based on key Raiders injury. I'm not sure what that means. It is Kenny Pickett, but let's see. Says the Philadelphia Eagles could see a familiar face on the other side of the field next week. Says the Raiders will be making a trip to Lincoln Financial Field in Week 15, but could be without one key player. In Sunday's game against the Broncos, Raiders starting quarterback Geno Smith, I didn't know this, suffered a right shoulder injury and was replaced by Kenny Pickett at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So that puts Smith's availability against the Eagles in question. And if he's indeed sidelined, that means Pickett, who spent the 2024 season in Philadelphia, will be set to start against his former team. However, Carroll makes it clear that nothing is set in stone just yet. I'm going to do what I think is right, the right thing to do. And if Geno can play, that's my thought. Raiders head coach Pete Carroll said, but I know Kenny can play, and so our players understood it too, that Kenny did a good job, and they recognized that in the locker room after the game. I'm rooting for Geno to get back out there and see how he does, but we're not going to play him if he's not right. So Kenny will be ready to go, and Aiden O'Connell will be ready to go as well, and that's how we'll deal with it. See, this is the part I don't like about Pete Carroll. I say Geno Smith healthy. I would still go with Kenny Pickett. Man, Geno just ain't. Come on, man. You're 2-11 with Geno. So you're telling me that Geno gives you the best chance to win? I'm not buying it. Says despite their 2-11 record, the Raiders put up a good fight against the Broncos, who are 11-2, only losing by a touchdown. And much of that was thanks to Pickett, who came in and helped the team score 10 points in the fourth quarter. Whoa! This could be very interesting. Pete Carroll, stop it, bro. Stop trying to save Geno Smith's ego. This ain't just... Geno isn't playing well either. I know they're trying to blame this all on all these other things, but Geno ain't playing well, man. Geno is not playing well. I would love... Pete Carroll, let Kenny Pickett play, bro. It says after the game, fans let it be known how they feel about Carroll's decision to keep playing Smith over Pickett. It says Kenny Pickett did in 2 minutes what Geno couldn't do in 13 weeks. Kenny Pickett... It says Kenny Pickett plays one full drive and look better than Geno did all season. Boy, they killing this man. He said, I've seen what I need to see. Kenny Pickett for QB1 for now. One person posted. He said if Pete doesn't start Pickett next week, he should be fired as head coach. Kenny just proved that he can be the man as he threw a TD pass and then moved the ball down the field and set up a field goal. All of this within the last minutes of the contest, another person said. Wow. Okay, that could be interesting. I'd love to see Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett could spell disaster for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'd love to see it. Because I can tell you this, if Geno playing, it's a wrap. Geno hasn't been playing well this year. And it wasn't all Chip Kelly. Man, I just wonder how much the Raiders going to have to pay Chip Kelly. If I'm not mistaken, man, Chip Kelly, didn't they just sign Chip Kelly? They probably signed him to a 4-year deal. And I'm pretty sure if they signed him to a 4-year deal, he got all 4 of them joints guaranteed. He could sit home now and collect all that money. What up, my brother Freddie Morales? Yeah, he could collect all that money. So Kenny Pickett may look different. He may look different. And let me tell you something. If you can move the ball against the Denver Broncos, okay, I want to see what he does. I'd really like to see what he does against the Philadelphia Eagles because I would love for them to get another. I would love for the Eagles to lose another one. Vargas, what up? The Cowboys are back. Yeah, now we just got to take care of business. Let's go back also and look at the Vikings. Just when you thought the Vikings were pretty much done, the Vikings come up against the Washington Commanders and have a game that nobody expected, because I know I didn't. Let's see. Let's check out their last game. Also, I want to look at that game. I didn't know Kenny Pickett came in and did so well. This was a shocker to me. When I saw this, I said, uh-oh. Did y'all see this? When I saw this, I was kind of like, uh-oh. What happened to the Vikings? How did the Vikings score 31 points on the Washington Commanders? I want to know how they did it. Because everybody was talking about how trash J.J. McCarthy was. Meanwhile, J.J. McCarthy comes out, okay, so Washington went to Minnesota. Okay, I could see a part of that being, I'm sure that was a part of the reason. Let's look at here at what J.J. McCarthy did. Man, people been talking about J.J. McCarthy like he was terrible. Okay, so he only was 16 for 23, 163, but he had 3 touchdowns. Sacked 4 times, but he had 3 touchdowns. Okay, I see what's going on. Rushing, Aaron Jones was 14 for 76. Jordan Mason was 11 for 52. I'm sure that helped out a lot. J.J. McCarthy was 6 for 19. Xavier Scott was 3 for 15. But when you look at that, that's 128 yards rushing between 2 running backs, 5.4 yards a carry, 4.7 yards a carry. There is nothing to sneeze at. 1 touchdown. So it looks like they did some work. Jordan Addison. Let me see here. They did this without, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson only caught 2 passes for 11 yards? What? How is this possible? This man was 2 for 11. Jordan Addison was 4 for 52. Jalen Naylor, maybe he got hurt or something. I didn't see the whole game, so maybe he got hurt. Josh Oliver, 2 for 24. Just like he kind of spread the ball around a little bit. So this also leads me to believe, let's look at the team stats. There must have been some serious turnovers. Let me see here. The Washington Commanders, that's what I thought. They lost 1 fumble. They threw 2 interceptions. Let me see. They allowed 2 sacks. So I'm assuming that they must have capitalized on some of those. They must have capitalized on some of those mishaps. Let's look at the overview here. Minnesota Vikings scored 7 in the first quarter, 7 in the second quarter, 10 in the third quarter, 7 in the second quarter. They absolutely blanked the Washington Commanders. Wow. Marcus Mariota must have started. I don't know when he came in. Maybe it was the end of the game. But Jaden Daniels, my son was telling me, he said Jaden Daniels looked terrible. So he was 9 for 20. The rushing game, they were 10 for 52, 77 for 32. Receiving, McLaurin was 3 for 41. Debo was 4 for 27. Noah Brown was 1 for 19. And man, Zach Ertz had a cataclysmic knee injury, guys. Oh. Man. That was just to look at that was terrible. Yeah. I see K2, but yeah, Kenny Pickett revenge game. Oh, yeah, sweet Zeke. Yeah, Genty's done nothing all year. I do think a part of that is the offensive line. Yamar said, do y'all think we're sweeping the Commanders? Yes. No doubt about it. We're sweeping the Commanders. For some reason, we just seem to have the Commanders number. Yeah, we are sweeping them boys. Dallas Sports said the Cowboys ran out of gas. I think so, too. They'll never admit it, but I think they ran out of gas. I really do. I think that schedule was too hard for them. As Tucker said, Commanders will split with Philly, and the Bills will win. They are trying to win the division. They don't want to let the Patriots take the AFC's crown. Oh yeah, I believe so. They're gonna put the hands. They're gonna put the absolute beat down. I believe they're gonna put the absolute beat down on the Philadelphia Eagles. And so, man, for whatever reason, These Philadelphia Eagles, are crashing out, man. They are crashing out. I'm serious. Let's see here. Let's see if we can look at their. Because when you look back, this similar thing, if I'm not mistaken, the Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl. I want to say, what was it, 2022? I want to say it was 2022. They went to the Super Bowl and they lost to the Chiefs, right? They came out that following season. They beat the Patriots, the Vikings, the Bucks, the Commanders. They beat the Rams. I mean, they were on a real good run. They beat the Rams. They beat the Jets. They beat the Dolphins. I mean, they were on a real good run. They beat the Commanders. They beat the Cowboys. Hold on, let me go back. Because I'm thinking this is the season after they had won, after they had lost the Super Bowl, but they imploded for some reason. If I'm not mistaken, they imploded down the stretch of that season. We'll look this up in just let me pull this up. What was that? The 20. I think they went to the Super Bowl in 2022 and lost. And then they came back in 2023, and that thing was a hot mess. Let me see. They wound up going 11-6. That was in, yeah, that was the season. Let me see. I think it was a 2023 season. Let me see. They wound up just imploding at the end of that season. And I think that's one of the things that got them the losses. Let me see. Okay, so check this out. This was the Eagles' 2023 season. Check out how they started. So they started the season. They started out 5-1. Whooped the Patriots, Vikings, Bucks, Commanders, Rams. Lost to the Jets. They then went on a 4-game winning streak. They were 9-1, guys. As a matter of fact, they were what? They were 10-1. For anybody who think that this can't happen, they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They were 10-1. The second part, when they went to the next phase, they lost to the Jets. They beat the Dolphins, the Commanders at Washington, beat Dallas, beat the Chiefs at Kansas City, and beat Buffalo. And then they came to week 13, and look what happened. They lost to the 49ers, lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Seahawks, beat the Giants, lost to the Cardinals, lost to the Giants. And look at what they did to the Eagles even then. The Eagles wound up playing the Giants 3 times in they wound up playing them 2 times in 3 weeks, and they lost one of them. The Giants wound up beating them, and we already know the Giants wasn't even in contention. The Giants wound up beating them in New York. And I think the same thing is about to happen to them. They've lost to the Chargers. They'll beat and don't be surprised with Kenny Pickett. Don't be surprised if the Raiders start Kenny Pickett, they beat the Eagles. Do not be surprised. They may finish similar to how they finished in 2023. They lost to the 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks, beat the Giants, lost to the Cardinals, and then they beat the Giants. They collapsed. They wound up finishing 11-6. How do you only have one loss by week 12? They only had one loss by week 12. They looked like they were going to roll right back to the Super Bowl and then collapsed down the stretch. Lost 5 or 6. It is not like this is not in their DNA. It is not like this not in their DNA, guys. We're not talking about something that's impossible. We're talking about something they just did 2 years ago. They just did this 2 years ago. They went to the Super Bowl, came out, and imploded. They won the Super Bowl this time. They're getting down the stretch. We'll see what happens. But it looks like they're imploding. They're 8-5. They're 8-5. Yeah, this is what I said too, Shenard. Man, if they allowed Herbert to do this to him, oh man, when they get to the Bills, man, Josh Allen may run for Josh Allen may run for 125 yards on him. Bass, he said, they'll continue to blame Patullo, but in reality, it's Hurts. Yeah, Hurts has been bad, man. Hurts has been bad. It's the truth. Hurts has been bad. Hurts has hurt this team a lot this year. No pun intended. He's been bad. Doomsday said, G, do you think the Cowboys in the future will have a bend don't break defense? Do you believe they will be a top 5 shutdown defense? I think they're going to move to maybe a top 10 defense. Maybe somewhere between, probably somewhere between 3 and 7. No, they're going to get in more players. I just don't think they're going to get rid of Matt Eberflus Doomsday. I think they're just going to get in more players. Vargas, he said, G, we need Pete Carroll to pull it off and get the win versus the Eagles. Hey, I think if he plays Kenny Pickett, they'll win. But I'm a little bit worried about that because he loves him some Geno. Dallas Sports said, yeah, the refs tried to help Philly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I believe they did too. Yeah, Sweet Zeke. I mean, the Cowboys need to come out with a lot of, they need to come out executing. And one of the things I think they need to come out with this week is, man, Brian's got to come out with a better game plan. Pure Gamer said Murray is gold. Pure Gamer didn't say it was hot garbage. He said it was cold garbage. Bass said Murray does not need to be in the NFL. Man, he is collecting a serious check. BK Cowboy fan, this is the key. The Cowboys have to win out. It's doable. This is going to be a big challenge for Brian Schottenheimer and his coaching staff. They have the talent. Even defensively, the Cowboys have the talent to win out. Rico Jones in the house. What up, Rico? The Cowboys have the talent to win out. If the Cowboys don't win out, it's because the Cowboys, somewhere the Cowboys folded. The Cowboys have what it takes to win out. Stephen White, what's going on? Bad said, G said they gonna fold like a tick. They already been. They gonna fold, man. Arkansas, he said Dallas will have to win out and win the division. Yeah, and I think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to win the division. The Eagles are doing the same thing they did in 2023. I'm telling y'all, this isn't something that they haven't done before. They were literally 10-1 all the way up until week 13. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Right around the same time this year as it was in 2023. They collapsed in December and never recovered. They never recovered. It was a similar situation. They had 3 of the last 5 games on the road. They had a divisional opponent 2 times in 3 weeks. It is eerily similar. It is eerily similar. They were at Dallas, at Seattle. They lost both of them, lost to New York, beat Arizona, and then lost. They beat New York and then lost to New York. I'm just telling us, this isn't something that's unusual. It's really not. They did the same thing after the last Super Bowl. I'm just telling us. Boy, I'm loving this, man. I'm loving this. Cowboys got to take care of business now, though. At the end of the day, guys, got to take care of business. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. I appreciate y'all rocking with me on Cowboys After Dark. Georgie George. He said off topic. Georgie George. Bro, we've been laughing about this all day. We laughed about it on our first stream today, Georgie George. And then me and my sons were laughing about it tonight. Georgie George. For the Colts to tell the world that they're bringing back Phillip Rivers. They telling you they don't want to win another game, my brother. You cannot want to win a game bringing back Phillip Rivers. That is an automatic forfeit, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like Phillip Rivers his last few years. Because it didn't seem like to me he was playing for winning. It didn't. It was like he was playing because he could and he loved the game. But like they were just playing him because they respected him, but they didn't really think they were going to win. I would not want this dude playing quarterback for me. Radiant City said should be a bounce back game against 9 for the defense. We'll see. Let's see. Hold on. All right, let's check out a couple of things we didn't get to check out today. No cap, long time no see. No cap, your 49ers doing pretty good, man. They doing pretty good, no cap. He said if the Commanders play the Cowboys like they did the Broncos, they can also beat Dallas if we're using the logic versus the Eagles. Don't think so. I think the Cowboys have too much talent for them. I think that's where the Cowboys will get them, no cap. The Cowboys have too much talent for the Commanders. Now, we got to think about the Broncos, no cap. The reality of the Broncos is they're not an extremely talented offense. I think they're efficient. They're not talented. Their defense is talented, though. Their defense is what's doing the trick for them, giving them short fields, getting them turnovers, and those things alike. But I watched that game with the Washington Commanders. I thought it was a pretty good game. But the Cowboys, I think, just got a little too much firepower for the Commanders. I'm not going to do what I've seen everyone else do. I've watched the Dallas Cowboys defense be extremely good for 3 games. Dan Campbell, people need to understand something about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell hates the Cowboys. He came out with a game plan for the Cowboys. The defense, they had a game plan for the Cowboys. But understand, other teams don't have the same personnel, nor do they have the same game plan nor mentality. You can copy it, but it don't mean you're going to be successful at it. So I believe the Cowboys defense, I want to see Matt Eberflus this week. I'm not going to go back and say, oh, it's the same defense from previous to the Raiders. I'm just going to chalk this up. The Raiders had a great game plan for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys were tired after playing that many games in such a short span. They've had 10 days off. I want to see what the defense looks like going forward against the Vikings. I'm not going to be like everybody else because a lot of people, when Matt Eberflus and the defense started winning when they won 3 games in a row, everybody just kind of, yeah, maybe, they kind of went away from it. And then as soon as they won, they got back on that bandwagon. I'm not going to do it. I want to see what Matt Eberflus looks like going forward. I want to see what it looks like going forward because, hey, they were riding high, man. And the defense wasn't the only reason why the Cowboys lost. The offense, they didn't look too good either. Not to mention, the refs continued to rob a lot of the momentum of the Dallas Cowboys. All right. I wish we could hear Brian Schottenheimer after this loss by the Philadelphia Eagles. But what I want to do, let me see something. Let's see. I'm going to try to do a couple of things here at once. I want to go back today and finish listening to the Brian Schottenheimer press conference and hear some of the things that he's talking about for the Cowboys getting ready going into now that we didn't know before this, but now we know this is going to be a huge game for the Dallas Cowboys coming up against the Minnesota Vikings. And I want to hear if Brian Schottenheimer is talking about making some changes to this Dallas Cowboys defense. Let's check this out.
Nick Harris forced our telegram along the same lines of Dak taking too many shots. The tackles allowed double-digit pressures in that game against the Lions. What was your evaluation of those two guys and how they can improve moving forward?
Yeah, again, I thought, Nate struggled. I mean, I think he'll be the first one to tell you that. Young player, second start. Again, very talented. I think where Nate needs to grow is understand he plays a very difficult position to play, and you're going to get beat at times, and you got to bounce back. But for him, it was more of the aggressive sets. What do I mean by that? I talked about in our conference call, I think, the other day. But, like, his initial set was really good, and then as there was space, he would begin to kind of turn his shoulders, which softens the edge and makes it easier for the defensive end to affect the quarterback, whereas Nate's 330-pound man, with incredible athleticism and size, and he needs to stay square longer. And so that's something that we'll keep working with him on. And I think Terrence has played really well all year long. And, again, we got into a situation in the noise where these guys were generating a lot of pressure and coming off the edges. And, again, it's a tough position to be in. And but I thought, Terrence has played really well for most of the season. And like I said, I really do feel like it's one of the best things we've done all year is protect Dak. And we didn't do it very well the other night, and we need to do it better this week against the Vikings.
I'm sure you got some extra time to watch the Vikings.
I still don't agree with Brian Schottenheimer on this. I just don't think that this is one of the best things they've done all season. I think Dak Prescott has done some escaping and has masked some of the problems with the Cowboys. I think they did a good job maybe, the first 6 games. I think he could probably say that the first 6 games. But I'm telling you, man, ever since that doggone Denver Broncos game, every team, it seemed like after that, got after Dak Prescott and started putting some major hits on Dak Prescott. I mean, I can just think about the Denver Broncos did a number on Dak Prescott. Arizona, the Raiders, they even got it in on Dak Prescott somewhat. But the Arizona Cardinals, they got it in on Dak Prescott. Arizona Cardinals was putting some hits on Dak Prescott. I thought they did a pretty good job against the Philadelphia Eagles. Did a good job against the Chiefs, and I think even some of that was Dak Prescott. But then this doggone Detroit Lions game, they went right back to putting hands. They went right back to putting hands on this offensive line of Dak Prescott.
Vikings yesterday, Justin Jefferson in their last 2 games just has 4 receptions for 15 yards. When you see that or hear that, do you anticipate more balls going his way on Sunday, or how do you kind of juggle the statistics with what you've seen on film?
Yeah, I don't get too caught up in the statistics. I think it's probably a really good idea for them to throw him the ball.
Tommy
Irish, DallasCowboys.com. You were saying after the game last week that you kind of, now that you had some time after 4 games and 17 days, take some time to self-scout. What did you look at in self-scout? Was there anything that kind of jumped off at you while you were looking back at some of the things from these last 4 games?
Yeah, I would say, again, the 2 main things was the ball. Our inability to get the ball, take it away, and then how loose we've carried it. I think that's something that we have to clean up. I think that's the biggest reason why, we sit here right now is we're -8 in turnovers and the giveaway takeaway ratio. And there's definitely some fundamental things that we can clean up and need to tighten up. I think that's one. And then there were some things in the red zone on both sides of the ball that we need to probably do a little bit more of. And when we do that, I think that should hopefully get us the results that we want.
And kickoff coverage unit has given up the fourth most yards this year on kickoff returns. What have your conversations with Nick been like about trying to get that number down and give your defense some better field position?
Yeah, we need to do that. Number one, the kickoff coverage leverage has not been very good. We've lost contain, and the way it's all set up now is, again, if my left arm's free, I got to keep my left arm free, and guys are trying to make plays. And again, the way you cover kicks well is to have everybody do their job, stay in their lane, keep their contain, play with the right arm free, and we haven't done that. Again, we'll be looking at maybe some personnel adjustments as well.
Scott.
Skyler Dix with the AP. You said Friday you would talk to George about the social media things. Have you had a chance to do that?
I did. Had a good conversation with George over the weekend, along with a number of players.
Do you think it's fair to say that he lives his football life under a bit of a microscope, considering the circumstances of the trade?
I think George just loves football. Every time I'm around him, I know he just loves football. He loves playing the football, and it's a place like most of these guys where they get to just be their true selves. And I know he's great in practice and he's great in the games because he loves it.
Do you ever have counsel for him on that front? I mean, maybe you don't see it that way, but do you ever talk to him about, people are going to look at you a little bit differently than maybe they might others, or not?
I talk to George about a lot of things. Again, I'll keep that between George and I. But again, I love watching the guy play football. I'll just kind of leave it at that, Skyler. I think the guy has more fun playing football than most people. And I think when you do that, I think that's usually a recipe when you're as talented as he is. That's why you can impact games the way that he does.
Joe.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. You talked about Ryan Flanoy's improvement. You guys waived him at the beginning of the year. Was there a little bit of anxiety when you put him through waivers, and how did you respond to that, and what have you seen from him?
Yes, there was a lot of anxiety because we certainly, we drafted him. We wanted him back. We were hoping that he would come back. He wanted to be back, which was good. And I think I remember him just, taking it, as motivating, and I really appreciate the young man's maturity. I appreciate the way his faith is very strong. I know going through everything with Marshawn, he's been one of the more outspoken, guys about his faith and how he draws from that. But I was not surprised when he burst onto the scene against the Jets with his big game. And then I was not surprised by the way he performed last week in Detroit.
You talked before about your fourth down decisions being more of a gut kind of feel. How do you self-scout kind of what a gut feeling is like, or how do you kind of reevaluate?
All right, let's see. Hold on a second. Before we go on, we'll come back to Brian Schottenheimer. I want us to check out real quick a couple things on the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, these Philadelphia Eagles are falling apart, man. Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go to the Philadelphia Eagles website. Jalen Hurts he gave his post-game interview. Nick Sirianni gave his. I kind of want to hear Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Let's check out Jalen Hurts. See what he has to say over here about the Eagles' loss. All right, hold on. Let's let this.
Get out of here.
Let this commercial go by. JCT Slice, let me tell you something. JCT Slice says, hold on, let me pause this over here. Then we get over here to Hurts. JCT, my man, number one Dak Prescott fan. I'm number two. He said Hurts cost the Eagles the game with 5 turnovers. That's not good. Yeah, I think he did too. He said if it was Dak, he'd get ripped. Some will make excuses. Let me tell you something. There'll be some making excuses, but I'm just telling you, they're about to go into piranha mode on Jalen Hurts. You watch what I tell you. They're going to go into piranha mode. Watch what I tell you. Piranha mode. Yeah, Reginald Trudeau, I think we are focused on ourselves, but we got to understand what this is with Philly. We've watched this before with Philly, man. And I do think it's interesting news for us for them to be facing this implosion, because at the end of the day, Reginald Trudeau, we still need them. We still need Philadelphia to lose. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be focused on Philly, but hey, us as fans, it's interesting to us. It's interesting to us. Let's check out Jalen Hurts real quick. Check out Jalen Hurts on this loss. I'm just telling you, man, it just really gives you the mindset of kind of what's going on with the Eagles and why I do believe they're going to continue to implode. And if the Cowboys take care of business, Cowboys are going to get that division.
Talk about the game. How do you look at it?
You mind closing the door? You mind closing the door? We're still walking in. Go ahead. I didn't play enough. I didn't play well enough. Too many turnovers. Lots of opportunities, especially when we get on the other side of the 50, and I wasn't able to, get us in the box.
What'd you see on that play?
I knew it was going to be a tight window throw. I'd have to watch the film to see it from the eyes, film's point of view. Ultimately, it's a play that I didn't make. He got a hand on the ball, and I didn't make the play.
Is that like a high-low concept, and it seems like is that the first progression?
That's a play that we've made a million times in that scenario versus a cloud corner, and I didn't make that play this time around.
You find you were trying to make too many tight window type of throws and take more chances than usual?
No.
Protecting the ball out of something that's a point of pride for you. What was the difference, I guess, tonight?
I think winning is a point of pride to me. That's why we play the game. And I got to find ways to lead our team to victories. It's not something that's foreign to us. We're just not able to do it at the moment. And it starts with me and how I play, how I lead, and how I go out there and do my job. So when I look at it, at any point, it's about how I respond to a test, how I respond to it, and what level of resilience and resolve I have to push forward and figure things out.
On that final drive, that big offside call to keep the drive alive. What was just the feeling amongst the fellas? Looked like you were going for the win score.
Yeah, well, there's a ton of confidence in those moments in the game. You live for those opportunities. You live for those moments, and everything was trending forward in terms of our execution and us taking advantage of our opportunities going down the field. Ultimately, I was one play off, and credit to that defense being able to be as disruptive as they were. Ultimately, it's
in the grand scheme of things, he was one play off, but in reality, he was a lot of plays off. In reality, he was a lot of plays off. Some wasn't his fault, but some were his fault. Bad throws, overthrows. We saw, and I still say the one to A.J. Brown, I don't blame him for that one. But nevertheless, he was more than one play off, but his defense had him in position to where he still had one play. Still had one play. And I'm telling you, I posted it on X right before he threw that interception. I knew the Eagles were getting a little too antsy. They were getting a little too antsy. They wanted to rush down the field for no reason. They wanted to rush down the field. They decided to start going vertical, and it got them. It got him. So he was actually more, I would say he was actually more than one play away, because had he made some plays in that game, they're not even in that space. But I think one of the problems that has happened with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think what's going to plague them as they continue to play other teams, people have figured this out, and our defense is the one who gave a lot of the league the blueprint. Jalen Hurts struggles. And I like Jalen Hurts. I feel sorry for him, but I don't feel sorry for him because he plays for the Eagles. So I want the Cowboys to obliterate him. Jalen Hurts has been struggling against zone defenses. And just like he said, that tight window throw, a lot of teams realize it. This is how we wound up coming back on him from 21 points. We knew that he couldn't make those tight window throws. We knew it. We should have never let him get to 21, but we knew he couldn't do the tight window throws, and we got him. We got him. We got stop after stop after stop after stop on him. I mean, we didn't even let him get field goals the way that the Chargers did. We just got stop after stop after stop. Jalen Hurts is struggling. And I still say A.J. Brown takes some responsibility for this too, because A.J. Brown cries for the ball, but then when A.J. Brown gets the ball, he don't always do some of the things you expect him to do either. And I think those guys are I wouldn't be surprised if A.J. Brown is not with the Eagles no more. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to move him next year. The Eagles are looking like they looked in 2023. They're imploding. This seems to be that same team. They've lost a key player on offense and a key player on defense. Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson are major for them. I just saw Rich Lloyd in the chat. What up, Rich Lloyd? Rich Lloyd just made the comment that they're not as good without those two players. I agree. They're not as good without those two players, and they're feeling it bad.
It's a test, and it's a challenge that I accept, and I look at it, and I have the focus to learn from it.
Are you viewing tonight as an outlier, or do you consider the interceptions and the overall turnovers the team's had over the past 3 weeks?
That's for everyone else to determine. For me, we lost the game, and I didn't play well enough to help us win the game. And so I look at it as like I look at every game in terms of win or loss, how I respond to what the game presented itself. And so that's my mentality.
You said you think things are trending up. I feel like tonight's performance overall in offense was something that went in the right direction.
I mean, we got to go out there and got to put it together. And at the end of the day, I look at it as I. That's I. It starts with me. It starts with me and how I play. Like I said, how I lead, and it's my ability to go out there and figure it out. There's no excuses. I know, again, all that's subjective in terms of how you look at it. Is it, obviously we always feel like we got a chance, but we just got to come together and find ways to win, and I have to find a way to win.
Passes that you wish you had back. The one obviously that went through his hands, interception. The first pass, the deep one, and then the one into the end zone, kind of laid right there for him. Did he express to you that as well, and what you see from your vantage point?
I know there's definitely something that he want back. There's something that we all want back. It's something that we'll all learn from and be better from. I think that's, in hindsight, what's great about this opportunity is to find out what's really inside and go back to work, band together, and respond.
The second quarter with the interception and then the fumble. Did that kind of typify the frustration of the night?
As frustrating as the night was, we had an opportunity to win the game in the end. Had the ball in my hands, driving down the field, having everything, on our terms to a sense, and I didn't bring it home. So that's how I look at it.
For you guys, you lost 3 games in a row. You have
Yeah.
What do you guys have to do to kind of turn it around?
I have to find a way to win, and we all have to have that same mentality. It starts with me.
Seems you're putting a lot on your shoulders. Is
That was Jalen Hurts. I'm not going to list all of that. But Jalen Hurts is definitely taking responsibility for the loss. No surprise there. He's taking responsibility for the loss. But at the same time, he's right. They had an opportunity to win there at the end, and he didn't make the play, and that's the bottom line. He just didn't make the play in bad throw. Bad throw. Bad throw. And this is another reason why I think they're going to implode. He has struggled all season long against zone defense. And tonight he did something that he normally doesn't do. He doesn't like to pull the trigger on those tight window throws. He pulled the trigger on some of them, and he pulled the trigger on them, and they didn't turn out. So the Cowboys at this point in the season, the Cowboys now got to take care of business. This is where this becomes about the Cowboys. When you get this opportunity, what are you going to do with it? I mean, the Eagles could lose, and I think they're going to do it. I think the Eagles are going to lose 3 of the last 5. But the issue is, the Cowboys have to understand that even if the Eagles lose 3 of the last 5, that still means they can't lose a game. They can't lose a game. They don't get that opportunity. Cowboys have got to win all the games. And that's a tall order. It really is. It's a tall order. But they got to do it. If they have any chance at the playoffs, the Cowboys have got to do it. They got to win every single game next 4. What's going on, Asai Yanami? CD looks like he's going to play. Looks like CD Lamb is going to play. They're saying he's passing all the protocols. We're going to finish. We're going to listen to the rest of Brian Schottenheimer. We only got 6 minutes of that. But he kind of mentioned that earlier in the interview. Asai, looks like CD Lamb is trending towards playing.
How you decide 4th down decisions?
I mean, I'm always going to go with my gut. I'm going to listen, to feeder and the things we're talking about and have a sense of the game, but I'm always going to go with my gut. And the reason why you do that is because you're the guy that's got to look at yourself in the mirror, whether it works or it doesn't. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror. People are going to like it. People are going to criticize if it doesn't work. They're going to think you're a genius if it does work. And but at the end of the day, when I'm brushing my teeth, going to bed at night, or waking up in the morning, I need to make sure that I'm doing my part to give us the best chance to win.
Garrett.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, you played the quarterback position. You call the plays. What are your thoughts on J.J. McCarthy's season? It's been kind of up and down, but probably at his best game yesterday.
Yeah, played great.
To say that J.J. McCarthy's season has been up and down, come on, man. This dude's season has been atrocious. J.J. McCarthy's season has been atrocious. And even to say he played his best game this past week, I mean, we saw the stats. I'm sure he made some good throws here and there, but let's kind of slow down on like he had a world-beating game. Now, unfortunately, some of these quarterbacks have looked good against the Cowboys early in the season. I don't think this will be the case. I'm not going to turn on Matt Eberflus in this defense so quickly. I want to see what they look like for the rest of the season. The Detroit Lions were a formidable opponent for him, and may have been a little too tough of where they were in the schedule. I want to see what they look like now going forward. Matt Eberflus still has an opportunity to prove himself. He's got, 4 games left. Let's see what he's made of. Let's see what he does with this defense. Let's see what they do against the Vikings. So I'm very interested to see. What they do. Very interested to see what they do against the Vikings in this defense. So I'm not going to I'm not going to be quick to write them off. Bad said Murray fleeced the NFL and especially the Cowboys. Okay, let's see if Brian talks about Murray, because I thought he talked about Murray in his interview.
A little bit I saw of the game, just flipping through the different games and things like that. I thought he played great, looked very comfortable, very talented young man. And again, I won't speak too much into it, but again, I've heard amazing things about him as a leader and, you know, what he brings to that locker room. And, you know, I coached Kevin O'Connell in New York. He was one of our backup quarterbacks. Love Kevin. I think he's an incredible coach. And, you know, he is an expert in developing quarterbacks. I'll say that, talking about Kevin. And so I think that the future looks very bright for JJ.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio, 105.3 The Fan. You were talking about pass protection earlier. Brian Flores.
What's up? You want 100? What's going on with you?
One of the tops in bringing extra rushers, and what kind of stress and challenges does he put on you?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Christy, he brings a lot of different unscouted looks, a lot of cover zeros, a lot of different looks that you have to be ready for. And again, it's one of those situations where you have to trust your rules. And we have answers and things that should account for some of those free runners and things like that. But the chess match is real, as people say. And I think Brian's one of the best in the business.
He really is.
I think the biggest criticism of George from that game was the effort from the outside looking in. How much did you guys get to immediate minds about the effort?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. And again, he just, in his words, he goes, "Hey, Shotty, I didn't play my best game." And, I think that unfortunately none of us, played our best game. And so that's real. But again, I don't worry about George and his love for football and playing this game. And again, for 5 or 6 weeks, he was the talk of the sporting world. Look at George Pickens. And, again, we didn't coach or play well enough to win that game in Detroit. They beat us. Is what it is. We've had a couple of days to, reset, refocus, and now we're on to Minnesota.
One more. Is Rock?
See, this is what happened to George Pickens. People built George Pickens up. They just built him all the way up. But some people build you up because they're just a part of the bandwagon. I'm not a part of the bandwagon. I want the Cowboys to sign George Pickens to a long-term deal. And we got people out there talking about things that are totally going to destroy this team. You do not want George Pickens playing on a franchise tag. I just don't think that's what you want. You do not want George Pickens playing on a franchise tag. It's not going to end well. We saw what happened with Michael Parsons and David Mulugeta. I don't even know if they would allow him to play on a franchise tag. Who knows what they might come up with to stop him from playing on a franchise tag. The Cowboys don't need to wait another season. And I know there are people out there talking about, oh, let's wait and see. And then let's franchise tag him for $28 million and then see what he is next year. Okay, you go ahead and make that mistake. You go right ahead and make that mistake, but it's not going to end well. The reality is you're not going to get this opportunity. I just don't think you get this opportunity again. You might be able to match up CeeDee Lamb with a great wide receiver coming out of college, but Tetairoa McMillan would not be what George Pickens is right now. Tetairoa McMillan wouldn't be that. I don't care what wide receiver you get. If you don't come out and make adjustments when a team is clearly showing you that they have a plan for your wide receiver, well, if you don't have a plan to make some adjustments and get over there and sit him down somewhere and say, hey, this is what's going on, so this is what we're going to have to do. If you don't get over there and get a hold of that early, well, you're going to get what you got. And I still say the Cowboys had an opportunity to win that game had CeeDee Lamb stayed in the game, because CeeDee Lamb and Flournoy was benefiting from the coverage style they were playing on George Pickens. One, they were determined to stop that slant play. Two, they were cheating people over to his side. This left CeeDee Lamb one-on-one for some big plays, same way it did against Kansas City. It also left Ryan Flournoy open for some big plays when CeeDee Lamb went out. So this stuff with George Pickens, man, it's one game. I'm not even tripping on one game. I'm not even tripping on the thing with Sherman. Only thing I would really be talking to Sherman about would be the language. I thought the language was really rough. But in the future, what I would tell George Pickens, you're a Dallas Cowboy now. Any criticism you got with the Pittsburgh Steelers is multiplied time 100. Might even be by 1,000. And this is the Dallas Cowboys. You're gonna have to learn some things from Dak Prescott. You're gonna have to grow duck feathers, and you're gonna have to ignore a lot of the things that you hear. Ignore a lot of the things that you hear. And, our media does some things that I'm not really appreciative of, but it is what it is. I can't tell them how to do their job. I just don't like some of the things they do. I don't like the fact that somebody brought right to the locker room. I'm sure you didn't hear what Richard Sherman said, but here's what he said. Man, this dude is coming right out of the game. I don't want to be in this dude's head like that. And then he comes after that, and then he goes and looks at what Richard Sherman says, and then he goes even more. I thought his response after the game was great, but then he got out there and I'm not mad at him necessarily for the response. It's just how he responded, some of the things that he said. But in the grand scheme of things, to learn from the future, to learn from the past, I would just basically tell him, don't even respond to that stuff. This is what these media people do these days. They sensationalize everything. Let them talk. Let the haters hate. This is what comes along with being a Dallas Cowboy, and especially what comes along with success and what comes along with expectations. This is why y'all heard me say over and over, whoever builds you can kill you. Don't let the opinions of people build you up. Because those same opinions that you appreciate, they're going to tear you down. That's all they're going to do. So don't get caught up in people. Don't get caught up in people and all of those things. And just keep on. It's time to take care of business. It's just time to take care of business. Bottom line. And so I'm not worried about the George Pickens thing. I think George Pickens is going to be all right. Bam Bam Gaines, what's going on? It looks like CeeDee Lamb is going to play. They're building him up to play. Brandon says, Shotty, you okay? We aging you. Brandon, I said this before. This man needs a whole year of being the Dallas Cowboys coach. Being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, man, it ain't easy. Because you got to deal with so many things. And so, again, I think George Pickens is going to be fine. I really do. Robert said you're going to need to hide his gray hair with George watching the wig. He'll be all right. I say just go and cut it off, Shotty. Just go cut it off, bro. Give it up. All right, let's listen to some more, Shotty.
How have you seen him grow from when you first got him week 1 to where we are right now?
Again, I'll talk about the leadership and using his voice and all that. I think just the passion for the way he plays the game is real. But like I said the other day, I think the biggest thing for me, I've always known he's had a great first step, the ability to affect quarterbacks. But the way he plays the run is unique for a rookie that came out of BC as a known pass rusher. But the physicality that he plays with in the run game and really on all D&Ds is very unique, in my opinion, and that's why I think he's going to be a star in this league.
Your coaches talk a lot when a quarterback throws a pick or has a bad game, whatever. You learn more about the guy after that. Can the same be said about corners, and what do you expect from a guy like Revel who's going through it for the first time?
Yeah. Again, I think you can, and I think that's all part of the process is having conversations with those guys. And Von is a very confident guy, but he's playing a very tough position.
Yeah, hold on a second. Big K Cowboys fan, he said basically you're suggesting. No, it isn't even a suggestion, BK. The only way we're getting into the playoffs is winning the division. The wild card is not possible for the Cowboys. The wild card is not a possibility for the Cowboys. Problem is there's going to be 4 division winners. You already know that. Then you take the next 3 teams. You take the 3 teams with the best record. Well, the problem that we have going against us as the Cowboys fans, we got the doggone 49ers out there at 9-4. We already know there's no way the 49ers are going to lose the rest of their games. They probably have the easiest schedule going down the stretch of all the teams that are going into the playoffs. So I think they're going to probably win. They're 9-4. I think they're going to probably win 3 of the next 4, either 2 of the next 4, which will put them at 11 wins. Any team that hits that 11 win mark, they automatically rule out the Cowboys. Then you got, I think it is, what is it? The NFC North. I think the NFC North is a huge problem for the Cowboys because you got 3 teams over there with 10 wins, I think it is. You got, what is that? The Rams, the Seahawks. I mean, it's a mess for the Cowboys as far as the teams who have, with the amount of wins that they have. The Cowboys, if they don't win the division, the Cowboys may very well. Do y'all realize it's crazy that in years past, you win 9 games, you got in the playoffs? In years past, 9 wins would get you in the playoffs. This year, 10 wins and you missed the playoffs. That is bonkers to me. 10 wins and you're out of the playoffs this year. That just goes to show you how competitive it has been this year. Some of these teams are just flat out winning. We'll look at that before we get out of here. Yeah, we'll look at that before we get out of here tonight. All right, let's check out the rest of Shotty on this.
To play, and again, he's like, I put him in the same category with me. You know, I didn't have my best night. He didn't have his best night, and but we woke up the next day and we were both motivated to get better, and he's going to do that. And again, when you've got a rookie corner that's playing at the level that he's played with the confidence, I don't worry about him. I mean, it's a guy that all he wants to do is get up and play press man to man, and you don't lack confidence if you do that. You know, there's most guys who are like, okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. Like, ooh, let me give myself a little bit more cushion. He's more like, hey, let me get closer to this
What
guy.
up, Roy Strassner?
Hands on him. But, you know, I don't worry about him. And he's one of those guys, again, I think is just every week, man, he's getting better. And he's learning, he's growing. And I think that's great for our football team.
Yeah. What do you...
Yeah, Savon Revel Jr. is one of these players I'm not worried about. He just got his welcome to the NFL moment last week. Dan Campbell really went at him. And also, you think about he played a lot of man in college, from what my understanding is. So he's still kind of learning. He's still kind of learning some things. Got beat, I think, on a couple of plays where he probably shouldn't have got beat. Rookie mistakes. I thought he was in phase with one wide receiver. Had he looked back, he probably gets a pick. Then on one wide receiver, he let him get a little bit behind him in that zone. And had he just took a couple of steps back, he probably gets a pick on that too. So I'm not worried about Savon Revel Jr.
Remember about your time with Kevin O'Connell in New York, and did you see then that he could be a head coach one day?
I did. I remember it a lot. I remember him coming out of San Diego State. I remember him going to New England. I remember bringing him over as a free agent. But I really remember him. We were in a division against the Patriots, and we would go back and forth. But Kevin had been in New England with Tom and knew a lot of Tom's answers and blitzes, and he would get with Rex and the defensive staff every time we'd play the Patriots, and basically he'd become a defensive coach that week. And so he'd give a great look on scout team, but he'd help them come up with blitzes and how to attack things. And if you've ever been around the guy, he's very personable, very football intelligent, and just he's a leader of men. And so I was not surprised when he became a head coach. I was not surprised to see his success, because every time I've been around the guy, I've just been impressed by him as a man, a husband, a father, all those things. And again, he really helped us, beat a really good team a number of times when we were facing off against the Patriots.
Have you spoken with him since you got the job?
Yeah, saw him a couple different times.
What is today? I know it's a bonus day, but what do you guys do today?
We're rehashing, going through the game, resetting, and then we're going to do some hospital visits. So a chance for us to give back to the community a little bit, and it's a great day to show our gratitude just for how blessed we are. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see them get back on the field. Ready to see Brian Schottenheimer. I want to see how he reacts to the Dan Campbell beatdown. Dan Campbell and that coaching staff out-coached Brian Schottenheimer. And this is just some stuff that Brian's got to get used to. Again, I brought this up last week. Brian Schottenheimer actually has not called plays in 5 years. This is really his first year back calling plays. It really is. So we got to see what he's gonna do the rest of the season. But I can tell you this: if they are planning on getting to the playoffs, Brian is really gonna have to step it up in the play calling. They got to stop these slow starts. I said it before the Cowboys played Detroit. You cannot get behind every team because there are certain teams you get behind and they bury you. And the Cowboys are approaching the next 2 games. Not really worried about the Vikings as much, but you're not going to be able to get behind this Chargers team tonight that we saw tonight. They need to really get up on them, and I believe they can put them in a headlock by putting that game in the hand of Justin Herbert, making him throw the ball a lot, especially with that broke left or whatever he's got on the surgery on the left hand. Cowboys can really put some hurting on him if you put them in a situation. I think the best bet for the Cowboys is try to put every team in a situation to where their quarterback has to beat you. Can't let them get those run games going. True Texan says, Shotty keeps saying you win in the fourth quarter, but the games you have lost most have been in first 3 quarters, so that the fourth quarter don't hunt. I agree, True Texan. Yeah. You get behind, and really, True Texan, I think you win in all the quarters. I think you win in all the quarters. I think you got to try to do a good job of keeping your games close. I say you win in all the quarters so that you can make a surge towards the end if need be. Greg, I'm saying there's a chance. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm saying there's a chance. And the Cowboys got a very, very good chance. Very good chance. Hot boy. He said, maybe you have a point here. Have a point there were times when AJ would be open in the zone and he would just run first. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with this whole thing with him and AJ Brown, but they're not on the same page. And I said this last week. What's wrong with the Eagles, hot boy? They can't fix it in a game. No, they got something systematically going on. It ain't going to be fixed in a game. They need a season to fix this because A.J. Brown, while I don't think he's checked out per se, but him and Hurts they're just not on the same page. And teams aren't going to let them get on the same page, put them in that zone. BK Cowboy fan, he said, Mr. Gio, you concerned with CeeDee Lamb? Yes, I am. He has too many of them right now. 3, don't like the footage they showed on YouTube. I said it today. I would, if it was me, I would prefer CeeDee Lamb sitting out another game. That's just me. I really would. I would rather him sit out another game. I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that, but I would like for him to sit out another game. I think we could handle up on the Minnesota Vikings without CeeDee Lamb. That's me. That's me. I really would like him to sit down one more game. But again, I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that. I don't. What's going on, Fat Boy Preach? Yeah, I'm telling you, I would let him sit down, but I don't think the Cowboys are going to do it. Fred said, will the Cowboys get better playmakers that can help them get to the Super Bowl? Well, I think they will in the coming up season. But right now, Fred Bell, we are what we are. We are what we are. Yeah, Caitlin, we can't make the wild card. It ain't possible. Yeah, it is not possible for us to make the wild card. And I'll show you that here in just let's go to some more playoff stuff. I'm going to show you where this is all messed up for the Cowboys. And I always thought winning the division was the way for the Cowboys. Had the Cowboys not lost to the Detroit Lions, the Cowboys could have got in either way, I believe. They could have got in either through the wild card, because I do think 11 wins would have got them in through the wild card, but I also believe 11 wins would have also had them beating the Eagles outright, even though I still think the Eagles are going to implode and they're going to beat them outright. But let me give you the rundown on what's the problem. Okay, so I got my teams mixed. I got my conferences mixed up. Okay, let me rewind. So let me show you why we can't go in through the wild card. It's virtually impossible now. So, of course, you have 4 winners of the division. You got the Rams in the West, Packers in the North, Eagles in the East, Bucks in the South. So I got my divisions mixed up. It's not the North and the South. It's the problem for the Cowboys is the NFC West and the NFC North. I thought it was the South. It's the NFC North and the NFC West. Here's the problem. The Cowboys, the most games the Cowboys can win right now is 10 games. That's the most they can win. Because right now the Cowboys are 6-1. They got 4 games left. The most they can win is 10. Well, when you look at these 4 teams right here, the Rams have 10, the Packers have 9, the Eagles have 8, the Buccaneers have 7. The Buccaneers could very well fall out of this thing. I'm thinking the NFC South consists of, I think, the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are probably going to be battling the Buccaneers for that 4th spot in the NFC South. But the issue is, if either one of them, no matter how it comes out, the winner of the NFC South is in, and nobody else in that division will get in. Because the Panthers aren't winning out. I don't think they're going to win even 10 games. The Buccaneers may win 10 games. So it's going to be down to who wins the NFC South. But anybody in the NFC South who doesn't win the division, it ain't going to matter. They're not getting in. It is the NFC West that is going to dominate the remainder of that. Because in the NFC West, the Rams are 10-3. The Seahawks are 10-3. The 49ers are 9-4. The 49ers have one of the easiest schedules going down the stretch. They're going to win more than 10 games. The 49ers will win a minimum of 11 games. The Seahawks, they're 10-3. They have 4 games left. They're going to win more than 10 games. They win one more game, it's already over with them. The Packers and the Bears, they're still, either way, the only thing they're going to do is flip-flop spots. Now, I do think the Packers are in danger because the Packers, man, they got a heck of a schedule coming down the stretch. They're 9-3-1. Their last 4 games are crazy. But what's going to happen to them is just going to be simple. The Bears will just move to that spot, and the Packers will move to that 7th spot. But it just becomes so hard for the Cowboys to get into this wild card spot, because what it would literally require is for the Packers to not win but one more game, which could be a possibility, but I still don't know what the tiebreaker looks like when it comes to the Cowboys and the Packers. I don't know what the tiebreaker looks like, because the Packers have beat some of the teams that the Cowboys didn't beat. In particular, I know they beat the Bears. So I think that automatically would give the Packers the tiebreaker. So the Cowboys literally lead the Packers to lose out. That ain't happening either. So the wild card for the Cowboys, it's virtually impossible. Especially once all of these teams get past the 10-win mark. It's impossible. The only place the Cowboys realistically gets in is winning the division. It is the only place the Cowboys get in. There is no other, and don't let me say there's no other way, but the possibility of them getting in through the wild card, it would literally take a total collapse. Of all the teams in front of the Cowboys, they couldn't win but one more game. They would all have to finish with 10 wins. It ain't happening. The Seahawks are moving past 10 wins in the next couple of weeks. The 49ers will move past 10 wins in the next couple of weeks. The Bears will move past 10 wins in the next couple of weeks. The Cowboys cannot get in because of these three teams. And the only thing that's going to happen between the Rams and the Seahawks, they'll flip-flop spots. The only thing that's going to happen between the Packers and the Bears, they're going to flip-flop spots. The only thing that's going to happen between the 49ers. Now, the 49ers is a part of this NFC West issue, and I think they're going to stand pat at number 6. They'll be at number 6 or number 7. So the only thing of these wild card teams is if the Packers have the hardest schedule out of all of them. Let's look at that real quick. I've already shown that, but let's go back. I'm going to show that piece again. I saw a couple of people wanting to see that playoff picture again. So I'm already showing us again. The Cowboys road to the playoffs. They cannot enter in through the wild card. It would, and I'm not saying that they can't, but the probability it's got to be somewhere around 1%. It's got to be somewhere around 1%. So the problem with this is the Eagles have fallen already to the 8-5 mark. Bears 9-4, Packers 9-3-1. So let's kind of move over here to the schedules they have left. I'm not really worried about the Lions because I don't think the Lions are making the playoffs. I really don't think the Lions are making the playoffs. The Lions, I believe, will lose 2 games, Rams and Bears. That'll put them at 10. That'll put them at 7 losses. That'll give them 10 wins. I don't think the Lions are making it. I do not think the Detroit Lions are making the playoffs. It's the same thing with the Cowboys. It is insane that 10 wins is – there'll be a couple of teams that'll probably have 10 wins, Cowboys and the Detroit Lions, that if teams in front – I just think the Lions not gonna get in. I don't think they're going to win as many games as the Bears. I don't think they get in. I don't think they're winning as many games as the Packers. I don't think they get in. They have 4 games left. I think they lose these 2 right here. I think they're going to get beat by the Rams and the Bears. I do. Caitlin, I agree with you. The Packers won a game that I did not anticipate the Packers. The Packers won a game I did not anticipate them winning. And that was the game they beat against the game against the Bears. I did not anticipate them winning that game. And I think that's what's going to put the Packers over the top. But they got a tough last 4 games going to be tough. But again, I don't think the Lions are going to get in with 10 wins because I think they're going to lose 2 of the last 4. Next, the Bears. The Bears are going to win, I also believe, at least 2 more games. They have the Browns. I think the Bears will beat the Browns, even though Shador is going to play well. But we'll see how he plays against the Bears. That Bears defense is a monster. Bears, the Packers. I do think the Bears will beat the Packers at home because I think they should have beat them on the road. I think the Bears should have beat the Packers on the road. But Caleb sold them short. But again, I think the Bears will beat the Packers in Chicago. I think they beat the Browns. I also think they may even beat the Lions at home. I think they'll lose to the 49ers. But if they win 3 of the last 4, they'll be 12-5. I think the minimum they finish is 11-6. I think they at least win 2 of the last 4. Not worried about the Panthers. They're either going to get in or they're not, depending upon who wins between them and the Bucs. They have a game. They have 3 games coming up against the Bucs. 2 games in 3 weeks coming up against the Bucs. They are going to decide that, I think, between those 2 games, because I do think they will probably think the Panthers have a good chance at beating the Saints, even though the Saints, they won some games I didn't think they were going to win. The Saints beat the Panthers the first time in Carolina. The Carolina Panthers may beat them in New Orleans, but they might actually get beat by the Saints. But I do think they'll get beat one of these times by the Bucs, also by the Seahawks. So it's either going to be either them or the Bucs winning that division. But whoever don't win the division, they do not make the playoffs, period in the story. Vikings, they're not making it, period in the story. 49ers have the easiest schedule out of all these teams down the stretch. They're going to beat the Titans. They're going to beat the Colts. They're out here looking at Phillip Rivers to play quarterback for them. They're beating. Oh, sorry. They're beating them. The 49ers, I think they're playing the Bears. I think they're playing the Bears in San Fran. And then I think they're playing the Seahawks. Yeah, 3 of their last 4 games are at home. They're also playing the Seahawks at home. They could actually beat the Seahawks even at home. But at the bare minimum, I think the 49ers do win their 2 of their last 4. They're going to get it 11 wins. Cowboys can't beat them they can't jump over them in the wild card. But I'm telling y'all, watch these Green Bay Packers. Their next 3 games. You want to talk about a gauntlet? They're going to go through a gauntlet like the Cowboys did. The Broncos are going to be a nightmare. I believe the Broncos are going to smoke the Packers. They got to go to Denver. I believe they're getting beat. The Packers got to play the Bears again. 2 times in 3 weeks. They're going to Chicago. I believe the Bears beat them because the Bears should have beat them on the road. I believe the Bears are going to beat them at home. They're going to lose, I believe, 2 in a row. Then they're going to face the Ravens. It all depends on what the Ravens look like in that playoff race. The Ravens may actually really be trying to win that game too. I got the Vikings as a red game because it's a divisional game. I don't believe the Packers finish. I don't think they lose the last 4. But I think they could lose any of these last 4. And wouldn't surprise me if they lost at least 2 of the last 4. But I think that still puts them at 11 wins, which I think may be 11 wins, and the Cowboys can't catch them. But even if they only win 1 of the last 4, I think they'll beat the Cowboys in tiebreakers because we've lost to the Lions, we've lost to the Bears. So I think that in itself, if we would have wound up tied with the Green Bay Packers, we would be out. So the reality is the Cowboys have 4 winnable games left. The wild card is not likely for the Cowboys. It's not likely. The Cowboys need the unlikely collapse of multiple teams to go the wild card route, and I don't think it's happening. And I think what it is I got this labeled. Let me see, make sure here. I think I have that labeled wrong. Let me see. I think I have the NFC North and the NFC West messed up. Let me see. No, that is the North. But the Cowboys need a total collapse. And they're not going to get that. All right, let me make sure I'm correct on that. I'm going to correct all of this later on tonight. Or I should say tomorrow because it's already late tonight. NFC, let me make sure who this is. Yeah, it's the NFC. Hold on a second. It's the NFC North. So, okay, I want to make sure I was correct on that. So, it is the NFC. Yes, the NFC North. This is their first problem, the NFC North. Yeah, the NFC North. This is their first problem. It would just take a massive collapse by all those teams. In particular, the Bears and the Green Bay Packers. I don't think they get that kind of collapse. And then I think it's the one I got mislabeled. Let me go back. All right. And then the other one, it's the NFC West. That's what I got. Okay. I call that the NFC South. It's the NFC West. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I'm a one-man team, so nobody's doing these graphics for me but me. All right. So, and then the NFC West is the Cowboys' other problem. The Rams are 10-3, Seahawks 10-3, 49ers 9-4. These guys aren't collapsing because their schedules are not that hard. I'm going to add Seahawks to this, even though it doesn't matter. The Cowboys are not getting in through the wild card. It is impossible. It is literally impossible for them to do it. It takes too many moving parts, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to get all those moving parts. The only team that matters going forward to the Cowboys, it's the only realistic road. It's not that the other road can't happen, but it's unrealistic for those teams to collapse. All of those teams to collapse. But the realistic road left for the Cowboys is to win the division. That's realistic. And the Eagles, it would be different if they were not showing the signs of collapsing. But the Eagles are showing all the signs of collapsing like they did in 2023. The Eagles' last 4 games, they're going to be tougher than people think. If Kenny Pickett starts at quarterback for the Raiders, that game just stepped up to a yellow for the Eagles. The Raiders game with Kenny Pickett, I believe, is going to be different. The Raiders game with Geno Smith, and the Raiders are going to blow him out. The Commanders game, it's going to be tough. I got a feeling the Eagles lose the Commanders game, and I just know they're going to lose the Bills game. Unless something crazy happens. They're going to lose. Of these last 4 games, I believe the Eagles are going to finish 2-4. And if the Eagles finish 10, if they finish 2-4 in their last 4 games, which I think that's what they're going to do, they're going to finish 10-7. If the Cowboys win out, they finish 10-6-1. The tie game by the Cowboys, they'll have 1 less loss than the Philadelphia Eagles. They will automatically win the division. And I believe it's going to happen. This implosion by the Eagles has nothing to do with the Cowboys. It's going to happen. The Cowboys are going to benefit. But here's the key, guys. And this is going to really show us another sign of where is Brian Schottenheimer. I think the Eagles are going to give him a chance. The issue is will they take advantage of it? Genetically, I've already shown genetically modified innovations. I've already showed the remaining schedules of them. It is not possible for those teams to lose 3 games. The Cowboys are not getting through the wild card. They're not getting there. Let me flip back. The only team I don't have on here is the Seattle Seahawks, but it's not going to happen. Let me pull up the Seahawks schedule real quick. The best road for the Cowboys, and it's not even the best road. It's the only road. It is the only road. When you look at the Seattle Seahawks final 4 games, they're playing. The Seahawks are playing the Colts. They're playing the Colts. That has nothing to do with these 3 teams or the teams that's up here. They're playing the Colts. They're going to play the Rams. They're playing the Panthers. They'll beat the Panthers. And they're playing the 49ers. The problem, and again, let me go back to genetically modified. Let me go back and show you the problem again of why the Cowboys cannot enter in through the wild card. They cannot do it. Even if these teams do lose, one thing we know for sure, the Lions, I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs. But the Bears, they're not actually playing all of these teams. They're playing these teams up here, but here becomes the problem genetically. It's not even looking at it from the Cowboys' perspective. It's just looking at it from the playoff picture. The most games, this is why I'm giving us the common sense part of this. The Cowboys now, the most games they can win are 10 games, period, in the story. That's the most games the Cowboys can win. The Bears will win at least 2 of the last 4 games. At least I believe they are. I believe the Bears will win at least 2 of these games. They could lose all of them, but I think they win at least 2 of those games. But stranger things have happened. Maybe they go on a 3-game skid at the end. Maybe they lose to the Packers, the 49ers, and the Lions. And that would put the Cowboys and the Bears both at 10 wins. They win with the tie on that. That is a possibility. Don't think it's going to happen. Not worried about the Panthers. It's either them or the Bucks. Don't matter. The Vikings, don't matter. They're not getting in. But the 49ers, they're not playing but 2 of these teams up here. The 49ers are beating the Titans. They're beating the Titans. They're playing them in San Fran. They're beating them. They're beating the Colts. If they're talking about getting Phillip Rivers, they don't want to win. They're beating them too. The Bears will be a tough out in San Fran, but I think they'll beat them. Seahawks in San Fran will be tough, but I think they'll have a chance there. But here becomes the issue. All the 49ers have to do is win 2 games. I think they'll get 2 of those 4. I do think they'll get 2 of those 4, and I think it'll be the Titans and the Colts. The Packers, they got a tough, I don't know how they're going to turn out. But I don't know what the tiebreaker is with them and the Cowboys. Even if they lost 3 of the last 4, they beat the Cowboys in the tiebreaker. I do believe if they go 10-6-1, Cowboys go 10-6-1, they beat them in a tiebreaker because the Cowboys have lost to the Bears, they've lost to the Lions already, and the tiebreaker is over. So again, at the end of the day, Cowboys, it is highly unlikely they're going in through the wild card. The best road for the Cowboys is actually to win the division because it's the most realistic. The Eagles are 8-5 now, 4 more games left. They just have to lose 2 of the last 4. They lose 2 of the last 4. Cowboys win out. Cowboys go to the playoffs. End of story. You don't even have to worry about the wild card. Don't even have to worry about the wild card. But the wild card for the Cowboys to get in, the problem is with the wild card, it is too many moving parts for the Cowboys to enter in through that again. Just putting up the playoff picture again. Too many moving parts. NFC West, again, the only thing that can possibly happen between the Rams and the Seahawks is that they flip positions. It's the only thing that's going to happen. That only leaves 2 playoff spots, 49ers and Bears. The 49ers and the Bears are in the 6th and the 7th spot. The 49ers are in the NFC West. They're not moving. The reality is there's only 1 playoff spot remaining that the Cowboys can get, and that is the number 7 seed. That would require the Bears. The Bears would have to drop 3 of the last 4. Not saying it can't happen, because it can, but the Bears have to drop 3 of the last 4. That's a tall glass. The Bears have to lose 3 of the last 4. I think this road is easier because I think the Eagles are going to help the Cowboys. But either way, if the Cowboys get in through the winning division of the number 3 spot, or if the Cowboys get into the number 7 spot, because it's the only spot they can get in through. They cannot touch anything above 7. This is all still predicated upon, will the Cowboys do their part? This also means the Cowboys have to win 4 games in a row. Bottom line, Cowboys have to win 4 games in a row. That's the facts. They cannot get anywhere above 7. That's requiring the Bears to drop 3 of the last 4. Not saying it can't happen. Just don't think it's going to happen. The way for them to get in, is winning the division. And I think that's how they're going to get in if they get in. The Eagles are imploding. Yeah. Nick V said Eagles are imploding, but they need to lose either the Raiders or the Commanders for them to miss the playoffs. I think it's going to be the Commanders. I think it'll be the Commanders because I think the Bills is a loss, book it. But I do think it's going to be the Commanders. But man, the Raiders could shock us. The Eagles better not. They better not look over the Raiders, man. They better not look over the Raiders with Kenny Pickett. Shoot, man, Kenny Pickett. Shoot, Kenny Pickett may be in this for the revenge. James, I don't think it's the Panthers game. I think if there is one game the Cowboys should not have lost, it's the Cardinals. Had the Cowboys not let the Cardinals beat them, this wouldn't even be a discussion. Because 7-6-1, and if the Cowboys are 7-6-1 right now, they could still have a cushion of losing one game possibly or winning out. 11 games would have automatically got the Cowboys in the playoffs. And I believe it would have been either winning the division. I think 11 wins would have won the division, or the wild card. 11 wins would have won that last wild card spot. It was the Arizona Cardinals game. But again, Cowboys have got to take care of their part. They have to win. KDB. And this is when I'm going to do a video on this for the masses. And I do believe this is the angle that I'm probably going to take on this. The wild card road requires the Bears to fall apart. Bears got a pretty, again, the Bears do, going back on that schedule, let's look at it again. Going back on the Bears schedule, because that's the only spot. The Cowboys cannot get the number 6 spot. Forget it. The 7th spot is the only one they can get. And that's kind of where the Bears reside right now. So I do believe the Browns is going to give them a really good game. The Browns have a really good defense. Shedeur Sanders balled out. I think the Browns' obstacle is going to be Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski flat out sold the Browns on the game this week. The Browns should have beat the Titans. Kevin Stefanski not only went for a 2-point conversion on the last touchdown, but a lot of people don't realize he went for it on the touchdown before that, and he didn't even have to. It don't make any sense. I do think the Browns are going to give the Bears a very good game, but I think the Bears will pull it out in Chicago. I do think the Chicago Bears are going to beat the Packers. I think they beat them. But I tell you this, if the Packers beat them twice, they would be 9-5. I do think they would lose to the San Francisco 49ers in San Fran. They'll have the Lions at home. Stranger things have happened. Maybe they could lose 3 of the last 4. I'm struggling with them losing 3 of the last 4. I am struggling hard with that. The Cowboys would beat the Bears. The tiebreaker would be the tie because the Cowboys would have 1 less loss. So those are the 2 roads. I just think that Bears road is highly unlikely. But if, I will say this. Me and my wife was talking about this yesterday. Oh, no, we were talking about it today. The weak link for the Bears is Caleb Williams. Man, don't get me wrong. Sometimes he'll flash and you'll go, wow, this dude, I see why he was the number 1 overall pick. And then you'll watch him the rest of the game and you'll go, there's no way this guy was the number 1 overall pick. Caleb is their weak link. James said, my opinion, Bears will beat the Lions in Chicago. Well, he says the Bears will beat the Lions in Chicago. That's what I'm thinking too. Lions will freeze in the cold. He said it's in the cold. It's funny that the Detroit Lions they play in a cold city, but they play in a dome. He said they'll win because they're going to freeze to death. I see what you're saying there. Okay, let me see what Nick V says. He said the Bears are playing the Browns. Easy. Packers, tough. 49ers, tough. And the Lions. This is where I am, Nick V. I think they beat the Browns. And then I think they beat the Packers. But if the Packers beat them 2 times, ooh. KDB, Boy, if Green Bay beats the Bears again, whoo. Well, the Cowboys may have two ways to get in. They may have two ways to get in if they do it like that. Yeah, he said, we only watch the Eagles. Hey, man, it's a lot more football to play, but I'm excited. But again, none of this matters if the Cowboys don't take care of business. JS2, he said, we need to fix our Swiss cheese defense before we start. JS2, he said we need to fix our Swiss cheese defense. Hold on a second. Let me put this up here. Let me put this up here for JS2.
I don't know.
This is still one of the funniest clips in NFL history to me. JS2, I'm gonna have to put a sound bite on my soundboard for this. JS2, you ready? JS2 said we need to fix our Swiss cheese defense before we start talking playoffs. So this is JS2 up here talking about our defense.
I don't know. All I know is we threw 4 interceptions and fumbled once. 1 interception they returned for a touchdown. 3 others were in our end of the field where they scored points. That's all I know. That's inexcusable. Inexcusable. Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game. Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
Boy, this dude.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope.
Oh. How did they allow Jim Moore back in the building after that, boy? Boy, how did they let Jim Moore back in the How did they let Jim Moore back in the building after that? How did they let this man back in the building? Genetically, you know what? You got me thinking a little bit on the Bears. Somebody else mentioned the Bears. I see what you're saying about the Bears. That's the only other road, because the reality is the Cowboys can't get above number 7 if they go in through the wild card, and so the collapse would have to be the Bears for the Cowboys to get in. So it's the only way for the Cowboys to get in. Primer Rage TV said, what a game. Chargers defensive back stepped up big time. They did. I hope Bland and Diggs will watch. Primer Rage TV. Don't count on Diggs playing. I'm going to believe it when I see it. I'm going to believe it when I see it. Because now they're talking about Diggs is trying to get back in football shape. Man, if Diggs missed one more game, I guess the only reason why he would be coming back is for a playoff run. So we'll see what happens. Nick V said losing against the Cardinals, embarrassing. Yes, it was. James, exactly. They have nobody to blame but themselves. Hi, boy. That defense is going to show up against the Cowboys. I don't think it's good enough to stop the Cowboys, but it's going to show up against the Cowboys too. Problem is, I just don't think the Commanders have any offensive power. But boy, to get beat by the Vikings, oh man. They must have gave Denver everything they had and had nothing left. Because I don't see, with the way J.J. McCarthy been playing. Yeah, Nick V says you can't lose easy games early in the season. You're right. Yeah, James, I think that's going to be a problem for us if the Bears win 10 to 11 games, because I think they're going to win 2 more games. But if they don't, then the Cowboys, they have 2 ways to get in. But we gotta win. We gotta win. That's the key. I still say if the Cowboys win out, everything takes care of itself. They just got to take care. They just got to win. BK Cowboy fan, he said, Mr. J, this is exasperating. He said we should just pray for the Cowboys as a Christmas wish. BK, let me tell you what I think. And let me tell you where I'm going to be for the next 4 weeks. I'm going to continue my road to the playoffs. Hold on a second.
That's inexcusable. Inexcusable. Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
Oh, boy, they let this man.
So,
I didn't let this man back in the. I didn't let this man back in the bill. How did this man get back in the building after that speech, boy? Oh boy, yeah, Kayla, yeah, the Rams and the Hawks losing out is not gonna be possible. Oh man. Oh wait a minute, hold on a second. Elvis Soprano said, "Shotty better play the clip." Hold on a second, let me see if we can find that real quick. I'm telling you, boy, that doggone clip with Jim Moore, boy, that thing right there. I gotta put that on the soundboard since the Cowboys is trying to make the playoffs. We gotta put that on the soundboard. Cause boy, that right there is nuts. How did they let this man back in the building, man? Hold on, let me see. Herm Edwards. Yeah, I remember old Herm Edwards too. Let me see here. Let me see. Let's check out the.
This is what's great about sports.
Let's see what Herm. Let me see what Herm says, Amber. I know it's not funny. Is what's the name? But boy, this Jim Borg, boy, yeah, you cried, boy.
This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports.
Ooh.
You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire.
They had Herm stressed out, boy.
Because it matters.
They had Herm stressed out up there. They had Herm stressed out up there in New York, boy. They had this man stressed out. J.S. Tube said, "Gee, we watch the Vikings every week." He said their offense will be trouble for us. Hey, let me tell you something, J.S. Tube. I think their defense is going to be a problem. I think their defense is going to be a problem. Said, just hope Dak and the offense can match and win the game. Yeah, I think their defense is going to win the problem. It's going to be the problem. But I do think the Cowboys win. It's going to be at home. I think it'll be a tough game. Cowboys win. Hi, boy. Jaden will be back. He was back last week. Jaden was back last week. Man, he was terrible. He was terrible last week, man. Steel Hero, appreciate that super chat. He says Eagles have fallen 21 lead. Have fallen 21 lead. Elgott ran over to the Bears. Now got beat by a one-handed quarterback. Yes, they got beat by a one-handed quarterback. You're right. Herbert ran all over. Herbert ran all over them. I thought I'm telling you, I just think they switched bodies or something, man. James says, still don't say that Dallas got to play that quarterback in 2 weeks. Yeah, he'll be better by then too. Fat Boy Preach said Vikings offense is not as good. McCarthy, man, let me tell you, Fat Boy, he's been terrible until he played the Commanders, and all of a sudden he a world beater. Freddie says Shotty had a better head coaching debut than Jimmy. Jimmy had 1 win. He's first year. Shotty had 6. Now, you know, Let me balance this out a little bit, Freddie, because that's a great comment you made there. Let me balance this out. Shotty has a lot more things in place than Jimmy had. Jimmy didn't have anything in place. Jimmy had to trade and get things in place. Shotty comes in. I said this before. Could you imagine you come into your first coaching job and you got Dak Prescott at the peak of his career right now? You got CeeDee Lamb in the prime of his career. You got George Pickens in a contract season. Javonte Williams in a comeback season. They went and got you Tyler Booker in the draft. You got Cooper Beebe at the center, Tyler Smith as your guard. You got the left and right tackles are question marks. But you got Kevontae Turpin. You got Ryan Flanoy. You got Jake Ferguson, which really may not be saying as much. But in the grand scheme of things, Brian Schottenheimer as a first-year head coach, man, he got some serious firepower. His debut should be better than Jimmy's. He's got a whole lot more firepower than what Jimmy had. If Jimmy would have had the firepower of Brian Schottenheimer, Jimmy would be doing more with this. Because by the time Jimmy even got to partial of this firepower, we saw where they went and got to the playoffs. What was it? Third season? Got to the playoffs. And they didn't have the firepower that Brian Schottenheimer has on offense. I'm just balancing it out. No. I'm going to give Shotty his credit. But, man, you got Dak Prescott. Man, you got Dak Prescott in his prime. CD in his prime. George hitting his prime. Nah. Jimmy didn't have that starting out. Jimmy went through all kinds of stuff. Michael Irvin, broke leg. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Nah, it took time. It took time for Jimmy to build that mess that he started with the Cowboys. That was a hot mess. No, Brian came in with an offense that coaches dream of. I still say Brian isn't doing enough with the offense that he has. I think it's the players that's making his play calling look better than it is, and I think that's one of the reasons why he doesn't look good against some of these teams. I mean, he's been outcoached about at least 5 times this season that I can count of, just thinking off the rip. Let me see here. JS Tube said Jefferson, Addison, and Hockenson are going to tear our defense to shreds. Well, something's been going on with them the last 2 weeks, but we're going to see. Shows what he said. Jim Moore got fired not too long after that speech. Boy, he said, if you look back at it, he said, yeah, it wasn't Bo going back in the building. Bro, I'm telling you, I don't see how they let that dude back in the building, boy. Amber said Digging need to play the rest of the way because Revel, Revel is playing the rest of the way through. Yeah, they're going to let Revel work his way through this. And I think they should. But if anything, what they're going to do is they're going to leave Revel out there, put Bland in the slot, and then they're going to move Diggs out there to the outside. Fat Boy said JS2 our defense will be fine. McCarthy is not very good at throwing the ball. He will need to run it, but don't think they will run it well. Yeah, JJ, man, I don't know what he pulled out of the head. I didn't watch the game. I may need to go back and watch the game on Minnesota. Because, I mean, the stats on him were not that good, but he had 3 touchdowns. So that means to me they must have got him within scoring distance. James said, whoever said that comparing Brian to Jimmy was coaching against the Giants, Redskins, and Eagles, those teams were playoff teams, and the Giants and the Redskins won the Super Bowl in 90 and 91. Yeah, that was the NFC when the NFC was the NFC Beast, too. Yeah, they were tough, man. they really were tough. Hot Boy said Commanders are always good up for the Cowboys, but it also seems like the Cowboys have had their number also over the last few seasons. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, man, the Cowboys, the key to this, though, guys, the key to this is simple. We can draw up all the scenarios we want to, and I will. I'm going to be drawing up all kinds of scenarios, which for me, I'm going to add now, you guys have kind of got me thinking about the Chicago Bears down the stretch. I still think they're going to win 2 of the last 4. But if there is a way we can get in, it would have to be the Bears in the wild card. It would have to be the Bears, but we're counting on them to collapse. And they're just not playing like that right now. Because they barely got beat by the Green Bay Packers. And I mean barely got beat by Green Bay Packers. I think they beat them the next game in Chicago. I really do. I think they beat them, and I also think they're going to beat the Browns. I think the Browns are going to give them at least I say they're going to give them a good game, but I don't think the Bears, the problem with the Browns is Kevin Stefanski. I don't think he wants them to win. And I know some people don't like this. I've been seeing some people pushing back on this, but I just don't think Kevin Stefanski wants Shedeur Sanders to succeed. I don't. I don't think he wants him to succeed for whatever reason. It don't make sense to me. Sabotaged him this last game. It was an absolute ridiculous call. Doesn't make sense to me. You pulled the quarterback out of the game to let somebody who hasn't thrown a pass all season long to throw a pass. I guess if it works, you look like a genius. But more than likely, that play isn't going to work. That was one of the most dumbest plays. Kevin Stefanski, there is something going on with this dude. Yeah, problem is chosen one. Jimmy had Troy and Michael when he got here, but Troy wasn't Troy. Troy was a turnover machine when he first got here. Irvin, if I'm not mistaken, Irvin broke his leg when Jimmy got here too. Maybe that was with Tom. I'll have to do some research on that. But I know he broke his leg in that phase, but you got to realize Troy wasn't Troy either when he first got here. Troy was a rookie. Dak is in his prime. That's a whole different level of quarterback right there. Whole different level of quarterback. Didn't have Emmitt Smith when he first got here either. Things started to come together when Jimmy finally got his play, when they made the Herschel Walker trade, things started to come together. Yeah, Troy and Irvin isn't Dak and CeeDee at that time. Exactly. They're not in the same realm at that time. Brian actually has Dak in his prime. CeeDee in his prime. Brian has gotten, this is why I believe that the Joneses really expect Brian to, they really expect him. I'm telling you, they're not waiting 2 more years for Brian to make the leap. The Cowboys front office expect Brian to make the leap next year. They are expecting the leap next year, and they're wanting that Super Bowl 2026 no later than 27, because that's the window. So we're going to see. Amber said, I think Crosby is going to have a sack frenzy on Hurts. We're going to see. We're going to see. But at the end of the day, I'm telling y'all, and I know y'all all understand this, none of this means nothing if the Cowboys don't win. It means nothing. I believe the Cowboys are going to have a great opportunity to go to the playoffs, but it's on them. They got to win. Brian Schottenheimer, let's look at the things the Cowboys are going to have to fix as we get ready to get out of here. Brian Schottenheimer is going to have to stop starting slow. The last 4 games, the Cowboys have been behind in the first quarter. Some games they've been behind in the second quarter. You go down 21-0 against the Philadelphia Eagles. You're down 14-7 to the Kansas City Chiefs. You're down 6-3 to the Raiders in the first quarter. I forget the Arizona Cardinals game, how bad it was, but the Cowboys didn't score an offensive touchdown until the 4th quarter. You are not going to get to where you want to go until you improve and fix that issue. Brian has got to find a way to jumpstart his offense. And they got to get out. They got to stop committing. It's like the first drive, they're committing turnovers. How do you jumpstart this team to be as good as we know they are? The Cowboys should jump out on teams and score. First drive. I don't care if they defer or not. Their first drive, the Cowboys should score. The Cowboys should get out in front of teams and put tremendous pressure on them. But their play calling is so predictable. It's so predictable. Steven Gibson, you're right. Dan Campbell exposed something that we did not expect to get exposed. Dan Campbell, I still say the best scouting job Dan Campbell did was our special teams. They beat us in the special teams game. Ryan Flanoy, I still say, I believe the Cowboys should add Jaden Blue to the active roster. Put Jaden Blue on special teams to return kicks. I'm not buying that this young man can't return kicks. Why do you want him to play special teams if he returns kicks, and then you want him to play special teams to cover the kicks when you got Kevontae Turpin returning kicks? But he isn't on the team to cover the kicks. They need to figure out a way to try to add some speed to this offense. The special teams. It's got some chinks in the armor. Brian said they're going to do some things differently on special teams. So we're going to see how that goes. But they got to really do something about that. I don't know what they're going to do about the tackle position. Because even with Guyton playing, the Cowboys have problems out of their left and right tackle. Tyler Guyton plays good he'll play good for most of the game. But this dude will have about 4 to 6 plays that are just terrible. And those plays, they might get Dak sacked, they might make him make a mistake. Cowboys got some of their own issues they got to fix too. Because we already know the defense hasn't been the greatest this season, but what has got to be hitting on all cylinders is the offense. Because we had 3 games of the defense playing well. This is the first bad game since we got the players. So now we got to see, what do we look like against the Vikings and the Chargers. We got to see what we look like the rest of the way. Because maybe Matt Eberflus reverts back to those 3 games that we played when we first got Williams, when we first got Quentin Williams and Logan Wilson. So we're going to see what it looks like after this Detroit Lions debacle. I'm really interested to see how do the Cowboys bounce back. But at the end of the day, the Cowboys got some things they got to work on, because this isn't going to be automatic for the Cowboys to win out. Because I still say Brian is struggling also getting this team up week to week. I think he's struggling with that. I don't think he knows how to get them up sometimes from week to week. So he's got to get them up week. He's got to figure out a way, because I would use this Philadelphia Eagles game as saying we're back in the driver's seat, but I don't think Brian is going to do that. I don't think he's going to do that, but we got some work to do too. We got some work to do. And I can tell you this, we can't have a sigh of relief because the Eagles lost. Now we got to say, now let's go and beat the doggone horns off the side of the Vikings helmets. One game at a time. It starts with the Vikings. Let's go out here and annihilate them. Laura Nova, what up? Good morning. He said we're going to win out. And the Eagles will lose to the Bills. Oh, yeah, I think they're going to lose to the Bills too, but we also need them to lose to the Commanders. And I think they'll do that one of those games. Yeah, they're said, we got to protect the quarterback. Need to protect the quarterback. You know, Amber, is crazy because Maurice Leofau, he looked so good with Zimmer, but he has not looked good. He has not looked good with Matt Eberflus. I mean, I'm very interested to see where the Cowboys go with this at the end of the season, even though I don't think they're going to change him out. But I do think the Cowboys really need to be thinking about if they are going to change Matt out. Because one of the things about Matt that I don't like is that Matt is the type of guy, it seems like to me, Matt Eberflus to me is the type of guy that says, this is my system. And if you don't fit my system, I'm not going to adjust my system for you. I'm just going to expose that you can't play in my system. He's made some adjustments. He did these last 3 games, but it's like he reverted back to who he was and made some of the same decisions. And I'm very interested again. I want to hear his press conference this week because I hope somebody presses him and asks him, what made you change the way you were calling the defense in the first quarter versus the rest of the game? Chosen one. Yeah, we've been bad on penalties. Stupid turnovers and very bad on penalties. Wow, Bam Bam Games. That's something I hadn't thought about. Boy, I bet Leofau will be nice at safety. He definitely will hit. I'd love to see it. Hey, Uncle Charles, what's going on? Man, we got more than a chance, Uncle Charles. I think if we win, we'll be fine. Nick V, I think we're going to win out too. I do. I think we're going to win out. Yeah, Steve, I've talked about this for weeks. I do not like this about Shotty. He calls players, not plays. He calls players. And even when he says he looks at situation, he said he looks for the player that fits the situation. Nah, bro, we need you to come up with the plays that fit the situation. Let Dak work through his own progressions. I think this is one of the issues that Brian is having right now. Hot Boy said, I still don't trust our secondary. We give up too many splash plays. And Hot Boy, you know, one of the things that Dan Campbell did? Dan Campbell found ways to get mismatches again on the Cowboys defense, similar to what people did early on. So the question is, will Matt Eberflus make the adjustment? JS Tube said, why do we keep hiring these DCs whose defenses were good once but are now predictable and obsolete? JS2, I made this complaint about Matt Eberflus when they first hired him. When I first heard he had that bend don't break defense, I said, oh no. People don't understand. You show me a bend don't break defense that has been successful. I'm going to show you a team that had super studs all over the field. Because that's how it typically happens with those bend don't break defenses. They don't bend nor break because the players are so good. Nick said, we've been playing pretty good lately, especially our offense. We should beat the Vikings, Giants, and Commanders. I think so, too. Chargers are the best remaining team, and we're better than the Chargers, too. I think so, too. But it's going to require a Herculean effort. The Cowboys are not going to be able to take a breath. They have got to say, we have got to win. And I do think this is where the Cowboys have got to cross over. The Cowboys have got to cross over. The Cowboys have got to get them, and Brian has got to work on getting them to a point. How do you keep winning in prosperity? Because that's what Jimmy was good at. That's what Bill was good at. That's when you look at championship teams, the Andy Reids, they're good at. Sean Payton is on a ridiculous win streak. How do you get your team up week to week to week to week on a win streak? How do you get them to, 3 games? 3 games ain't good enough. 5 games ain't good enough. We expect to win every game. You got to get a team to a point like that, to where winning becomes natural expectation and that you can go on a run of more than 3 games. How do you get your team to that point? That's what Brian has to work on. Because this team, after 3 wins, seems so satisfied. So satisfied. And even the Detroit win, I thought they looked relieved. I think that run that the NFL had them on was a little too tough for them. Chosen One says, a part of me wants Dallas to play well, but lose out because we're not going to win the game in the play. With these linebackers and safeties. I just don't believe we have enough on defense. Chosen one, I want them to get in because I want them to get that experience. I want this new regime to get that experience of doing what it requires to get in there. They need this. This 4-game run, the Cowboys need this because they got to start getting to a mentality where the Cowboys needed to win out starting with the Raiders. They got to get to a point to where they say, man, we got to win 6-7 games. We got to win every game. Every game is a must-win game. How do you get them to that point? I want to see him win. Houdini said, Houdin 94, he said, Titans fans here, what's going on? He said, definitely possible for you guys to win out. I wouldn't want to play you in the playoffs. I said the same thing earlier. I think they would be good in the playoffs. Houdini, I've heard some people saying that the Cowboys may want to get Tony Pollard back. After the game he had last week, I don't think the Titans are going to let Tony Pollard go anywhere. Kalen said beating the 49ers for us. Yeah, problem is with them, though. I don't think they can lose. I don't think they'll lose 4 games. Nick V said the Lions annihilated our defense, though. Let me tell you something, Nick V. Dan Campbell had a great plan for the Cowboys. All right, man, it's 444 y'all in here. Make sure y'all hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We're going to be back later on today. We're going to be talking Cowboys again. Man, I'm excited to hear Brian Schottenheimer. I want to hear his response. I want to hear what his response is after this win. Still Hero, appreciate that super chat. Still Hero. When I started this channel last year, I said the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl in 2026. I'm sticking by that. I think this whole team breaks out next year. Cowboys are going to be a menace. I'm telling you, they'll be a menace next year. Azteca says Sean Payton and the Saints also were hated for the infamous bounty hunter gate. Yeah. On Brett Favre and the Vikings players at 2009 NFC Championship game. Yeah, I remember that. Man, them dudes almost ended. Dudes almost ended Brett Favre, man. Was almost ended Brett Favre. But again, guys, at the end of the day, Cowboys got to win. There it is, Jet Li. The Cowboys won Super Bowls in the 90s because they made winning natural. Again, man, Michael Irvin said it. Michael Irvin said that when the Cowboys would go on these winning streaks, like the Cowboys have won 3 games in a row, he said Jimmy would just get harder. He said Jimmy just got harder. He didn't let off. Chosen One said the Lions put our linebackers and safeties in a position to have to make a tackle against their premium players, and we just do not have the personnel and need to draft linebackers and safeties. Chosen One. This is why I give Dan Campbell so much credit. Dan Campbell found a way to get mismatches. He found a way to get mismatches. And that's how they beat us. Azteca said, just beat what you have left on your schedule and let the outside stuff work itself out. Azteca, if the Cowboys win out, I think they go. I do. And Azteca, that's the key. Cowboys have to do their part. That's the key. They have to do their part. They cannot let this, they cannot have a sigh of relief and say, well, the Eagles lost. That's just a small part of the puzzle. The bigger picture is it is time for the Cowboys to get on a run. And can you win 7 in a row? Can the Cowboys win 7 in a row? You won 3. Now you got to pass that mark. You got to win 4, and then you got to go in the playoffs. And you're going to have to win 3. So you got to win 7 games in a row. First things first, win 4. Win 4. Yeah, Nick V, I agree we're going to win out. I think we do. If we make the playoffs at this point, it isn't up to us. It's up to the Eagles and possibly the Bears. That's it. But I think we are going to win out. Nick V, there is only one game that stands out on the schedule for me for the Cowboys. It's that Arizona Cardinals game. It's that Arizona Cardinals game. But even then, the Cowboys still got an opportunity to win. Caitlin, yep, every game is a playoff game. No doubt. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here for tonight. Or I should say this morning. Good to be with y'all on Cowboys After Dark. Again, y'all make sure y'all subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. The Cowboys got a present. The Cowboys got a present. The Chargers did us a favor. And now we got to make sure we beat the Chargers so the Chargers don't return or give the Eagles a favor. Yeah, Hot Boy, I believe it too. Clowney was missed. For sure. One more time for JS2. Man, I'm about to go back and watch this thing on Jim Mora now, man. That boy Jim Mora, boy. That boy Jim Mora became infamous for that statement, boy. Appreciate y'all, man. Good night, chat. Y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all again in about... What time is it? See y'all again in about 12 hours. We're going to be back again around 4:30. So again, until the next time, DC4L, God bless. Let's talk Cowboys and we talk facts. Peace.